Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the NoDQ Review, number 153. I'm losing track, Aaron. Is that correct?
Right.
153, and this is the review everybody's been waiting for because it is after the return of CM Punk, which we will talk about this evening in the main event, even though Aaron made the choice to put Brock Lesnar and Becky Lynch. Is that who is the thumbnail? No, Roman Reigns as our thumbnail. I mean, hey, it's WWE, right? They got a bigger YouTube audience than AEW. With that said, this is the elite panel of NoDQ this week. Of course, myself, Aaron Rift, and back is San Goshioku. Whether that's how you say it or not, that's how I like to say it. And Jerry Slaughter. Gentlemen, what's up? San, I'll start with you.
Well, it's definitely good back. That was a close enough, basically, for my name. And yeah, happy birthday, Jerry. Happy to be here and some great wrestling action, fun time, and per my traditional introduction, hey everybody, San Goshioku here. All right, let's get started.
That's what I said. Anyway, good to have you
That's
back.
Right, you did.
And we have some big topics, of course, huge topics. Jerry, you requested to be on. You got the evening off. You're here, man. What's up?
That's what I came for, his introduction. Oh yeah, a whole bunch of other stuff happened in wrestling, but like I really lucked out and getting the time off, and what a week to actually have to be on the show. Like my birthday, and then we get to talk about Punk, we get to talk about SummerSlam, we get to talk about so much great stuff. So I'm really excited for this show.
You know, I got to give a shout out to Nico because in the NoDQ review chat, he actually asked me, is Baron Corbin and Karrion Kross going to be your main event the way I listed the topics this evening? And, of course, I was going to say yes. I was going to pull one on him, but I said, of course not. You know it's going to be CM Punk. So, with that said, Aaron, how's it going, man?
It's been a busy week, to say the least. And, Jerry, we're very happy to have you back, son. Great to have you on, as always. But, Jerry, it is your birthday. Now, son, can you sing along with doing voices?
I'm not much a singer, so I'll just do the crazy Mr. Smithers and Mr. Burns. Happy birthday, Jerry. Happy birthday, Jerry. One of the most creepiest things I've ever seen. Mr. Smithers.
That was
There
wonderful. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Nice. There we go. You just made the birthday list. Boy, I missed that. I missed that Chris Jericho. Oh, my God. But we're not really talking about Chris Jericho at all this evening. I'm sure we will probably next week. Unless somebody brings up a super chat, we'll see what happens. But you guys ready to get into the topics here?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
First topic, SummerSlam fallout. Okay, we have to talk about SummerSlam. Roman Reigns did defeat John Cena to retain. Never bet against Roman Reigns. I mean, at one point in time, you could bet against him against Brock Lesnar a couple times. But that happened. Sasha Banks was not there due to an injury. Okay, and Bianca Belair is no longer the champion. I'm sure we're all going to have something to say about that. And, of course, Goldberg, Billy Boy, did not beat Lashley, but I feel like they're continuing that. Maybe for another match for Goldberg for Saudi Arabia, because what the Prince wants, the Prince gets. Son, I'm going to come over to you first. Brock Lesnar returned. Becky Lynch returned. We knew they were on the back burner for, right? I mean, come on. It's WWE. They were waiting for people to come back. Becky was getting into shape, and she might not quite be fully ready yet, which is maybe why they did what they did and how they did it. But, Son, CM Punk came back Friday. We're going to talk about that. WWE and Vince McMahon's eyes always has to one-up the competition, even if he doesn't view it that way. And he brought back two guys, the man, right? You could say that. The man and Brock Lesnar in the same night. Go.
All right, so I already have my SummerSlam review up on my channel. I'll comment below and you guys can click on my name if you want to watch it. But basically, just to summarize what I said, at the end of the day, I was like, this show really showed why the WWE needs to start giving these talented men and women more compelling storylines and more compelling character development, because a lot of the show just felt like fluff. The stuff that really stood out to me was basically the main event. Edge and Seth Rollins, I thought was awesome. From the storyline to the character build up, the entrances. We had, Seth Rollins basically.
Well, while he's pending out there on the internet, are you back, son?
I'm back now.
Go.
Yeah.
Back to you.
All right, so yeah, I was listening to Michael Jackson's "Do You Remember the Time When We First Met, Girl?" I was awesome. Seeing Michael Jackson inspired gear from Seth Rollins. Sorry, I know I can't sing, but that's your comedy moment for the moment. Seeing Edge come back with the Brood theme, that was awesome. And morphing into the rated R superstar, that's pro wrestling done right. And then the main event was really awesome. Just a true testament to how far Roman Reigns has come from as just being an overall round-up performer. And as I was saying before with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns, it's like he's going to be in a tug-of-war now. The dynamics are so different. I'm not a fan of doing the same old thing over and over and over. And when you do this now where Brock is the babyface and Roman's the heel, bam, we've got something fresh. Just have Roman Reigns go over this time clean. None of this bull crap that they were doing back in 2018 where they were afraid to go ahead and put him on there. And then basically...
let me stop you real quick here. Back to Brock and Reigns. Did Reigns beat him at a SummerSlam the last time they fought? They went against each other to become the Universal Champion?
Yes,
before
but it was
a couple months later, before the leukemia?
Yes, but it was Shenanigan City. They had Braun Strowman interfering. It was a short match, and I'm talking about giving Roman a dominant win. They gave Brock so many dominant wins over Roman. Why not do the reverse here? And now there's no better time than to do this now. And basically, let's get down as what would Lance Storm say, if I could be serious for a moment here. Becky Lynch's return. I said... my review that this personifies everything that is both right and wrong with the WWE. They know how to bring you up with an amazing moment. Becky Lynch is back, yeah! And then she beats Bianca in a few seconds, and you're like, what is this? There's got to be a better way. Like, out of everything, that's the best thing you could come up with. I understand you had to put Becky there because Sasha Banks something happened there at the last minute. But man, and I'm going to finish on this note. I wanted to go on here, talk about Bianca, the way they have treated her character. I know I can't be the only one who feels this. WWE needs mainstream stars, and Bianca had this swagger to her that just, to me, felt like it would appeal to a mainstream audience. But so many times, the way they booked her, it felt like they put her in situations make her look really like just flabbergasted, and she's like, oh, even when Becky came out, she's like, I don't know, I want to do this challenge. Okay, like, what are they doing? I'll end on this point. When there's this moment when I think it was Bailey, she kept pointing and laughing at her finger at Bianca, and there's a moment where Bianca came out, and I'm thinking, oh snap, Bianca's about to take her earrings off, go ahead and take her belt off, get that belt and just start trash talking about she's the baddest, and just start boom boom just whipping the crap out of Bailey with her ponytail. That's the type of thing, to me, is gonna make somebody in the mainstream audience or who doesn't follow wrestling or used to go like, damn. It's like in Friday shot. with Smokey and with Smokey and who did Ice Cube play? Greg, right? This is the type of thing, because that recognizes with real people. They're gonna be like, y'all need to watch SmackDown again. This girl Bianca is bad, but instead they just have her come out and go like, ha 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 ha. They need to just let her be the baddest woman in the land. No nonsense, brags on herself, trash talks, and just puts the work in and beats the crap out of it. She should have went up to Becky's face and going all like, oh, you got pregnant and left in time to come back on my time? This is my ring now, and just getting all in her face. That's just more things. It's great that what they've done with the 4 horsewomen and that they've built and established those women, but they need to build more stars, and that is where I rest my case.
Devil's advocate. So Becky did the cheap shot, the forearm, and then the Uranagi or whatever it was, and the quick win. If the office's vision is for Becky to be a heel, which they tried to do before and it didn't work. Do you think they thought by doing it this way, the fans are going to be so pissed that we beat Bianca so quickly, they'll have to boo Becky now? I'm just saying. Devil's
honestly,
advocate.
as I said in my review,
because we hate the fact she lost like that, right?
Poor execution, and it makes Becky Lynch come off as overpowered, because if all these women could put up a fight against Bianca and still lose, and now Becky basically 1 or 2 shotted her and that's it, it's like, okay, well, who's on the SmackDown roster could beat? It's not like Bianca was attacked beforehand. I thought it was very just poorly executed. There's just so many more things that you could have done in that situation. When you want to establish a heel turn, I know it's not the best, and it kind of really began the launch of the business going down to where we were, but Vince McMahon shaking hands with Steve Austin, that solidified, even though the crowd cheered like, "Oh snap, Austin's bad," or Roman Reigns looking over to Paul Heyman and saying, "That's not a spoiler, that's a prediction." Well, that's not a prediction, that's a spoiler. Boom, that right there establishes there's nothing. Have, I don't know, Stephanie or something, not saying bring Stephanie back, but there should have been something more clear cut. Maybe Becky legitimately cheating or something. I mean, the cheap shot was kind of like, oh, she was trying to take advantage of being a rookie or something. So I just think it needed to be executed better.
Aaron, I'm going to come over to you because I see a super chat. Regarding this, the way that they did this with Becky, I'm thinking of Money in the Bank. Have there been baby faces that have cashed in on a unsuspecting heel? Like
Punk did the first time.
Okay, right. But we would probably pop and cheer for that, but we're going to boo this. I mean, I get it, right? Bianca had her moment since WrestleMania, and I don't know, man. Making her the chaser, I might be digging this. Aaron, your turn.
We'll just have to see how things play out. Maybe Becky Lynch will make this work. She apparently wanted to turn heel, but Steve Austin wanted to turn heel in 2001, and we saw how that worked out. Maybe it'll be different this time. Maybe Becky Lynch will succeed in this heel role. Roman Reigns has been successful as a heel. That worked out for him. Now, we do have a few super chats here. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, I could see fans booing Bianca instead of Bayley. I'm not sure. I think it could go either way at this point. I would not be surprised if fans did react the way that WWE wants them to react. Maybe they will get behind Bianca and they'll start to resent Becky the same way they started to resent Seth Rollins after a while. It's really hard to say right now. I just don't know what to think, but I will let it play out. As TJS knows, we joke about it all the time. People, whenever you criticize something in WWE, people are always like, you got to give it a chance. You got to let it play out. So in this case, I will let it play out. Alberto Gomez sent in a $2 super chat, says, get ready for Becky versus Charlotte at Survivor Series. Well, I think it's inevitable that we see this match again. I think it's just a matter of time between those two. They're pretty much like the female version of Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, or Steve Austin and The Rock. They're going to be in the ring wrestling against each other. It might be at Survivor Series unless WWE goes with a title change between now and then. Survivor Series, it's a couple months away. However, titles change hands quite often in WWE. By the way, Jerry, you got a pretty bad visual there with the shadow.
Yeah. I'm going to turn on my light real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. As he's doing that, also bring the cat into the shot if you can. I don't know if you heard that or not. I hear the cat. Matt Helms sent in a very generous $20 super chat. Thank you, Matt. I really do appreciate it. He says, hello, NoDQ. How's it going, Matt Helms? Thank you for tuning in. And Psycho Jet Black with a little throwback to earlier with Sun Goshiku. He said, Smithers has more credibility than Karrion Kross. So what is this? Is Karrion Kross the new Ricochet now? Is he going to be the butt end of all the jokes?
Wow, there is a topic.
Are we going to talk about the mask at all? Oh, wait a second. Look who's here. The cat is here. Now we got the
Action made his appearance.
We're just going to keep it on the cat for the rest of the evening.
There's
cannot get any better than this.
Yes, we will be talking about Karrion Kross.
All right, I just want to get a glimpse of that sweet kitty right there. All right, let's get back to business now.
We're losing viewers. Come on.
Dwayne Atkinson with a $2 super chat says, I want to see heel Becky versus heel Ronda Rousey. I'm not sure how I feel about that one, but maybe we'll throw it over to Jerry in a minute and get his thoughts on that. Let me see if I'm caught up on the super chats. Yeah, I think I'm pretty much caught up. And as far as Brock Lesnar goes, him being back, I'm excited to see what happens with Roman Reigns. Now, the question is, when are they going to pull the trigger with that match? Is it going to be at Extreme Rules, or are they going to wait until Saudi Arabia? I'm still not sure what's the deal with that. Is Finn Balor going to get the first opportunity at Reigns before Lesnar? Lesnar is apparently back for quite a while now. He reportedly has a contract for 1.5 years with at least 8 in-ring matches. So Brock is back, folks, and looking forward to Roman Reigns. I'm guessing we will get that Bobby Lashley match at some point, because who else can Brock face at this point? You know, Bobby Lashley, other than Reigns, seems like the most likely guy for Lesnar to go after at some point and try to hold his place at the top of WWE. Anyways, I think I've said my piece on all that stuff. Jerry, your thoughts on the events with SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar, Becky Lynch, all that stuff?
A while back when we were just talking about his, inevitable return, everybody was saying like Brock Lesnar was going to go after Bobby Lashley, and I was like, no. Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman would be the story. That's going to be the one that carries through. That's going to hold the most emotional weight. That's going to be the best physical match we get out of both of them. And so to see this starting to come to fruition, it's pretty great. Since the Roman Reigns bloodline storyline is actually getting kind of stale. Like the Usos are not really doing much of anything at this point except for feuding with the Mysterios, and that's gonna get old after a bit. But now you have Brock Lesnar, who they can have gauntlet matches with, or just constant run-ins and watch them get destroyed every week. And that's gonna be gratifying. Becky Lynch returning, that was inevitable too. But at the same time, both of those two returning that same night was just a Hail Mary, I think, because of the CM Punk return. I really do believe that was the case. Like Vince McMahon says he's not intimidated and that AEW is not competition. But at the same time, both those two appearing the night after, like pretty much the night or the weekend after CM Punk's return, that can't be a coincidence. He probably just picked up the phone, called the boats, like, give them however much money they need to give them, just get them back on TV. It's like, okay. But Becky, I could really care less if she's back, honestly, especially after the way like they did Bianca, because Bianca worked her ass off to get where she's at right now, only for that to happen, like especially on a pay-per-view, like in front of one of the first huge crowds that they've had back. That's garbage. It's just garbage, like top to bottom.
These reactions, like these Becky reactions, the way they did it with Bianca. Vince McMahon, they're catering to me. They're catering to the fans that love the other fans to not be satisfied. Now, Jerry, you said the bloodline's getting stale. You're 100% incorrect. As each week goes by, as each month goes by, and Roman stacks another victim and gets another win and carries that title longer, and the Usos are along with them.
I'm not saying
it's building
I'm not saying Roman Reigns being stale. I'm saying
like he walks out,
the faction is.
Roman not even close. Reigns. How's it stale? How is it stale? How is it stale?
Because
the Usos are feuding against the Mysterios.
Tires with the Usos. All they do is spin tires with the Usos because there's no tag team division for them to go against.
Okay, so that means the tag team division is stale. Doesn't mean the Usos and the Bloodline are stale. They got gold.
Okay,
they're with Roman.
We'll go with that. Then the tag team division is stale and does not give the Usos much of anything to do.
That entrance of Roman's is getting slower. He's milking the camera even more. That's
he is a fantastic heel, and I will take nothing from him because he's like one of the only entertaining aspects left in the WWE, let alone SmackDown.
So it's going to be fun to see what happens here with Brock, right? With roles reversed. I don't have a problem with that.
I wonder how Paul Heyman's going to play into this, but I know if he's got anything to do with this storyline, that's going to be fantastic.
And I'm pretty confident that if they did make a deal with The Rock, Roman will beat Brock in this feud because we know where this is going to head. So, I don't need to express my thoughts on Roman. Everybody knows it, right? Brock being back, big player. Anytime, if you go back on my Twitter timeline the past 5-7 years, every time Charlotte wins a title, which she did again, by the way, anytime Brock returns, anytime Roman looks good, I'm sitting there laughing because I know the cult of wrestling, right? The cult of wrestling. I don't even need to explain who that is and why. They want wrestling to be booked what they think, not what they're given, and I love them being angry. So there are people out there that are entertained with what WWE does. Now, they do a lot of crap. I mean, come on. What was that segment with Morrison, Miz, and Xavier Woods? That didn't need to happen. At SummerSlam. They do some bad stuff. Why did Shinsuke Nakamura come out to play his Intercontinental Championship? That didn't need to happen. They have a lot of crappy stuff that they do. I admit it. But when it comes to their main events, who they want to push, like Roman, like bringing Becky back, they sure know how to put them on his pedestal. Everybody that's upset at Becky for doing that, and Bianca's buried, like Aaron said, we have to wait and see how this is played out. Keep in mind, heel or not, WWE knows Becky has a following, and they're still going to love that. They're going to love that Becky came back and won that way. Right? And as far as I know, I bet you Becky has a bigger following and makes more money for WWE right now than Bianca. And I know that can be problematic if you're not building big stars. However, the history always says the chaser, if done properly, can really be elevated out of this. And I know she beat Sasha already, but what if Bianca comes back and ends up beating Becky, a heel Becky, for the title to become two-time champ? We're just going to say it's over because she lost that way at SummerSlam? I don't think we can. So we do have to wait and see how it plays out.
I'm actually really hoping that's the route it goes. That'd be
Now, if it's down the road, it's like, oh my God, they did all that just for that. Wow, Bianca's buried. Okay, I'm going to say they obviously screwed up, but I'm going to give it a little bit of time. Edge and Rollins, match of the night, right? And it was hard for me to say that because going in, I said Roman and Cena would be match of the night. But I mean, Cena hadn't wrestled for a long time like that, and they had to do it really slow and build to the end. So it was a fantastic story. But the match of the night, Edge, Rollins. Any last takes on SummerSlam before we move on?
That intro from Edge with the Brood. And the music
fantastic.
So much nostalgia there. It was great.
And SummerSlam had a lot of there was a lot of crap in there, and I think people look at that and they take away from the good stuff. And that's always been WWE's problem, right? They do have too much. They put so much content out there that people focus on the crap, and even though when good stuff really happens. Son?
Yeah, I just wanted to say you do make excellent points if they do it right. The problem is nowadays it's just so hard to get invested because with WWE, you never know if they're going to go all the way with somebody or if back in the Attitude Era, and lost the title twice that year. It all led to great moments and storylines. It's like, do we have the faith in WWE creative nowadays with the way Vince McMahon gets the final say-so on it? Do we have the faith that he does it? I hope so, but I mean, it's just, I feel like a lot of what WWE does, they often ruin the benefit of the doubt.
All right, we got a few more super chats here before we get to the next topic. First of all, Dwayne Atkinson sent in $5. Thank you, Dwayne. Says, it's going on 1 year. Is Roman going to beat Brock's record as longest reigning champion in modern time? Would that go beyond Mania if it does? I don't know the math, but I think he's going to be champion until WrestleMania at least. Virtue, I think you would agree with me on that one.
Yeah, I mean, if it goes, if I was the Vince Russo to Vince McMahon of this era, I would have Roman keep that title, mow through Lesnar, all the way to The Rock, right? Hoping that the cousin would come in and do some work for him, put Roman over, and then that should give you time to figure out who you want to become a top babyface that you can have Roman put over when it's time. But again, do they know how to do that anymore? I don't know.
Right. And we do have another super chat from Psycho Jet Black. He sent in $2, and we've talked about this before. The Bloodline needs Naomi to join and face Becky. You know what? Yep. That would be a good idea too. I just want to see Naomi as part of the Bloodline. I know Roman Reigns was asked about it in an interview, and he did not seem to rule out the idea. I'm hopeful that they'll do it, especially when the draft hits. Maybe we can get Naomi over on SmackDown and get her as part of the group, make her the female representative. I mean, it seems like a logical thing to do, even though she's not technically blood related, but she's married. She's part of the family. I would say she qualifies. And Alberto Gomez with a $2 super chat says, truth be told, the AEW roster is stacked, man. We going to talk about AEW or not yet?
No.
All right, so we'll talk more about the AEW roster and how stacked it is here in a few minutes. Okay, I think we're caught up on the super chat, so we can move forward here.
This next topic will go quicker because I'm not going to add much to it. I'll just moderate you guys. NXT. So these rumors are swirling. Vince McMahon and Nick Khan are changing it. My hunch is they're probably going to try to get it back to how it was when it was FCW. If that means it's still NXT and they still have the TV, I don't know exactly how that's going to go down. But in terms of, are we going to see more Roman Reigns types try to come through the ranks if Vince McMahon had his way? Probably, versus your Adam Coles and your indie guys. But speaking of Adam Cole, he's still technically on the roster until that contract runs out. He's going to be doing a promotional appearance with Johnny Gargano for action figures. So what's everybody's take here? And then where NXT is going to go? How do you think it's going to be in the future when Vince McMahon's fingerprints are on it? And then Adam Cole, because of the rumors. Jerry, I'll start with you.
I'm already kind of with you with the whole idea of them taking it almost back to a Florida Championship Wrestling type development system, where you'll have your bigger and beefier guys actually being higher on Vince McMahon's radar. But at the same time, I think what they'll end up doing, hopefully, especially if they keep around 205 Live, is still keep some of the lighter guys and actually put them on that show, and then just kind of translate into that. But NXT will be more of a heavyweight program. So I'm okay with whatever they're going to be doing, because right now NXT is kind of suffering regardless. Like, every time you get invested in one of the wrestlers there, they get called up. And Karrion Kross, I can't really say it latched onto him, but most of his mystique everything came from Scarlett Bordeaux, and she's nowhere to be found at this point. And he looks ridiculous on Raw, and they're saying it's an end game that they're trying to find something put him in something marketable, but it doesn't look marketable. He looks like the Gimp from Pulp Fiction at this point, but almost like a He-Man type version of it. It's not great. It's not good. It's not good shit.
Well, we're going to be talking about we're going to be comparing him to somebody else on a topic after this topic.
Bruce Pritchard disagrees with you on that one.
I love the opposite Vince McMahon behind the scenes slogan.
So Jerry, you think FCW? You think
cat
it's good?
Back on camera. Forget about this topic. We need the cat back.
Well, Adam Cole's part of this topic, and I mean, is that a legit photo, Aaron? The AC on CM Punk's shoe?
Yeah.
Or was that doctored? Okay. So Jerry, any thoughts on Adam Cole here, baby?
Adam Cole has done all he can do in NXT, and if he gets called up to Raw or SmackDown, he's going to get lost in the shuffle there, and he'll probably end up getting released anyway. So AEW would be the most logical step for him, because him, the Bucks, and Kevin Steen / Kevin Owens were the Mount Rushmore of wrestling for a long time, and they were just great together. And if Kenny Omega is going to drop the belt to anybody in AEW, the Bucks are going to turn on him, and it'd be fun to see Cole and the Bucks team back up again.
So, Son, I'm going to come over to you. Your thoughts on the direction of NXT when Vince McMahon's done molding it, right, like Smithers would. Is it Mr. Smithers? Was that your impersonation there?
Mr.
Would you compare
Smithers.
him to Vince McMahon in a way?
Nah, very different. Mr. Smithers really listens to Mr. Burns, and sometimes we have to question if WWE, in terms of Vince McMahon, will listen to the audience.
Oh, okay, but Mr. Burns is a right-hand man. Okay, so Vince McMahon's got to be listening to Nick Khan. I mean, God, he ended up hiring him as president in CRO from whatever the agency. So here's my thing with Adam Cole. He's probably going to go to AEW, okay? Because Britt Baker's there, and he wants to work with the Elite. God, what a blah. I wish somebody could convince Vince McMahon, you got to bring this guy up, push him on the main roster, and here's what we need to do with him. And Vince's light bulb goes off. He could be the CM Punk of WWE in 2021. You give him a mic, you come and not be a clone of what Punk did 10 years ago, but if you kind of let him go that route, that could be interesting in WWE. The question is, who's going to convince Vince McMahon to do that? I just wish somebody would. Son, take it away here with the direction of NXT and Adam Cole.
All right. First, since we are on the subject of NXT, I have to absolutely give huge props to the Drag Off Walter match. Now, I don't even watch NXT UK. I did go out of my way to watch their first encounter, and then I watched so I could be prepared for the second encounter. Incredible match. That just felt like something so different than what we see on the main roster. So that was really awesome. And then as far as so from what I've heard so far, it sounds like, and they were in Vegas, I believe, they're going to be looking into bringing in like super big athletes and basically just female models and try to mold them into WWE superstars without having prior wrestling knowledge. Now, here's the thing. Trish Stratus, while you can catch, I feel like with Trish Stratus, they felt as if they could catch lightning in a bottle, whereas like Trish is like a once in a lifetime type of thing. You're not going to always have someone who doesn't come in here as a wrestler and then just goes on to become an all-time great. Not that I'm saying you can't absolutely have those people, but I feel like they're limiting themselves. Definitely bring in new people that you can mold and build up from the ground up. But one of the reasons quality over the past decade has improved tremendously in WWE, because that's one thing definitely not to complain about, is the in-ring talent. The talent is at an all-time high. That's why I wish there was just better storylines and character development for these men and women. But when you have these people who've been so passionate and they've molded and learned their craft on the independent scene, I feel like their experience shows, and that's why we've gotten things so well. So I'm afraid they're just limited to themselves. I like to hope that they would keep things very versatile, because wrestling is best when you have a lot of variety. So I feel like doing this, it's going to limit NXT. So who knows what it's going to look like with Nick Khan gaining more power. And then in terms of Adam Cole, I absolutely feel definitely I would love to see him in AEW. I just, as I was mentioning earlier, I just cannot get invested into the idea that WWE is going to treat Adam Cole right. What you said, Virtue, absolutely would be great if they go there, but look at what we were seeing with Kross, as I'm pretty sure we'll talk about later. There's no guarantee. At the very least, even if Adam Cole doesn't get pushed to the main event scene, by at least going to AEW, he has a whole crop of new talent to work with, because as Jerry mentioned, Adam Cole has certainly done all that he could do in AEW. And I'll end on this point. I believe it was Road Dogg who did an interview and said that Adam Cole is like the perfect sports entertainer. He's got everything from the in-ring ability to the mic skills to the ability basically just being a really good guy behind the scenes. He says if only he had Kross's size, then he'd be the top guy. And we see what they're doing with Kross. And that's one of the top executives in NXT. And if that's what they're saying about you, and they're acknowledging that your size would be an issue, there you go. So I think at least in AEW, they will utilize Adam Cole's strength better. And I heard they offered him a money, but the thing about that, just like with Anderson and Gallows, they got paid a big lucrative deal and then they were let go. So are we even sure if WWE is going to go all the way with that? So that's my thoughts on the whole situation.
Now, Son, I would go back to the Simpsons reference here, because I haven't watched Simpsons since the 90s. Okay, now I know Mr. Burns is the owner, so you'd think Vince McMahon, and Smithers is that assistant.
Yeah.
So you'd think of Nick Khan.
Yes.
Going back to those two characters, who feeds Burns everything? Is it Smithers or is Mr. Burns
pretty
a decision
sure it's Mr.
maker?
Smithers.
Mr. Smithers takes
Mr.
care
Burns.
of Mr. Burns.
So who makes all the decisions?
Mr. Burns.
Okay. And he listens to Mr. Smithers, right? So
Yeah.
I think I might have got it mixed up earlier. So, yeah, so if you want to call Nick Khan Smithers and Mr. Burns Vince because he's the powerful one, but ultimately who's running that company on The Simpsons? Mr. Smithers.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it that way, Nick Khan.
I would say
I haven't
Mr.
watched The
Smithers
Simpsons since the
is more
90s.
like-
So you gotta,
Mr. Smithers is
Same
more
here.
like John Laurinaitis or
Yeah, he's the yes man to Mr. Burns.
yeah. Mr. Smithers
So-
is
Yeah,
Bruce
that's a good way to
Pritchard.
put it.
yeah, okay. So then he's not Nick Khan. And I
Yeah,
know there's some
Mr.
Nick
Burns
Khan haters out
Mr.
there.
Burns let Bret Hart himself walk into his own mansion and roast him
I'm
and
gonna
just
have
walk
to go.
right out. Vince ain't taking that.
There's more
Virtue.
episodes of The Simpsons than anything, so I don't think I could ever catch up on that.
Right?
Virtue,
No,
have you-
no.
Have you ever heard that clip of where somebody called Dave Meltzer's show and asked about Bret Hart purchasing Mr. Burns' mansion, and Dave Meltzer actually thought it was real life and not a cartoon? He had
No, I got to listen to that.
Oh
now.
my God.
It's one of the funniest things ever. Look it up on
Anyway.
YouTube.
Aaron,
Is that
before we move on to a fun topic, you want to add anything to this?
Well, we have a lot of super chats here,
Okay.
and I'll give my thoughts on the NXT stuff that's going on. Going back to earlier, Dwayne Atkinson sent in $5. He said, "Are we going to get a double turn with Brock and Roman Reigns?" No. Brock Lesnar is a babyface. Roman Reigns is a heel. And some people are like, this Brock Lesnar turn's not going to work. He was a babyface for a while. 2002 Survivor Series through summer of 2003, he was a face. He can do it without Paul Heyman, and I think it'll work. I think it'll work fine. Paul Heyman will still be doing most of the talking, and I'm looking forward to it.
Even with the Money in the Bank boombox thing, he was supposed to be a heel, but he was just so entertaining in that era. So that was really great.
Oh, and didn't he do something before he left the first time in WWE? Something with Eddie Guerrero.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a great segment.
Yeah.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, "I see Gargano and Ciampa being released very soon." I don't think they're going to be released, but my gut feeling is when Ciampa's contract is up, if I had to take a guess, he'll be gone. Gargano, at least right now, he's expected to be pushed as the top heel. I don't know how long that's going to last, but yeah, I think the odds
Both are
on
gonna keep coming trainers
go
at
to
the-
main
yeah.
roster. I wish Ciampa would go to the main roster and do some stuff there, but I don't know if it's going to happen or not. He seems to be against the idea, although I feel like in more recent interviews, he's been a little bit more open to it. So maybe it happens at some point. Like, I think Ciampa and Randy Orton could have a really good feud. I think Ciampa could have a couple of really good feuds on the main roster if given the opportunity.
If Ciampa were to leave, or not really even leave, I think he'd do very well in the Performance Center and just teaching people how to cut promos, teach about in-ring psychology. I think he'd be awesome at that.
Right. I think both of them will be around as long as they're under contract. I don't see WWE just cutting those guys per se. Dwayne Atkinson sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Dwayne. Says, according to CM Punk's shoe, is Adam Cole is AEW. Yeah, it said AEW on the Rampage show, and then this past Wednesday, it said BW on his shoe, which of course is Bray
you mean
Wyatt.
AC? It said AC on his show on
AC.
Rampage. Yeah.
Right. It had AC on the shoe on Rampage, and then on Dynamite, it had BW for Bray Wyatt. Psycho Jet
Interesting.
Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, the Gimp is more scary than Karrion Kross.
Dude, just wait till the next topic. We're going to have fun with this next topic.
Oh, yeah.
I'm waiting for Aaron to clear the super chats, though.
All right. Oh, Cat is back.
Yes.
Alberto Gomez sent in a $20 super chat. Thank you, Alberto. Says, what's next for John Cena? I thought Finn Balor was going after him, and I would have had Lesnar go to Raw and win the WWE title, reigning of the red brand and Roman reigning over the blue brand, Heyman managing both, almost being a team. Well, I still think that could happen. At least I could see Paul Heyman trying to make that pitch. Like, I could see Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar coming out there wanting to get his hands on Reigns, and Paul Heyman's like, listen, we should be working together here. Go to Raw, beat Bobby Lashley, just to try to keep Brock from Roman Reigns. Try to persuade Reigns and Lesnar to stay apart, but it doesn't work out. Maybe it will work out. Who knows? Maybe Brock.
Kind of like when Triple H is trying to convince Batista to go cash in someplace else instead of against him.
Exactly. So I would not be shocked to see that. And as far as Cena goes, he's got his movie. He's going to be gone for a while. He is scheduled for the September 10th SmackDown at Madison Square Garden, but that will be his last show for a while. Maybe he returns for WrestleMania. I could see that as a possibility. And let me see. I think we're caught up now. I've said this about Adam Cole. I think he's going to AEW. I think that's the best option for him, unless, like Virtue brought up, maybe he kind of becomes a CM Punk-like character where he comes out on SmackDown with a live mic and just shoots on everything. That could potentially work for him. Maybe there's a shot for him on the main roster if he was given that opportunity, but I'll believe it when I see it. We had to see CM Punk arrive to believe it. And I think the same applies to Adam Cole as far as the main roster goes. But realistically, my gut feeling is he's going to AEW. And I don't think Bray Wyatt's going to Impact Wrestling. I think
I laughed at that.
That's ridiculous. You really think Bray Wyatt's going to wrestle every week in front of 100 people?
I couldn't believe I was reading that.
Highly unlikely in all likelihood. If Bray Wyatt is wrestling for somewhere that's not WWE, it's going to be in front of arena.
I mean, Aaron, the only thing I could see is he shows up on Impact as Bray or his Wyndham Rotunda or whatever, and then he signs with Dynamite. He works for both of them, and he's the Fiend or whatever he calls himself. And I can't even see that, but that's the only stretch.
Right. We have another super chat here, $2 from Philly Irish Drew Evo. That's an interesting username. Says, I hope Adam Cole uses his Ring of Honor theme in AEW. I don't even know what it is. Do any of you guys know what that song is?
No, but he can get whatever licensed song he wants, and Tony Khan will pay for it.
Yeah,
that's true. Whatever he wants.
Yep.
And I'm still upset. I know people say the entrance music is not a big deal, but I miss his old theme song. I don't like the knockoff. It sounds like, you know how WWE would use generic songs to overdub over the regular songs, like Chris Jericho's old song they replaced with the WWE theme song, or the NWO, they used a generic version of the NWO, like something that sounded similar. I feel like that's what Adam Cole's new music is. It sounds like some generic knockoff to be overdubbed over the old version because they don't want to pay the royalty fees. I wish he had his old music. I thought his old music was great. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. He says, I said Michael. Damn it. Too many comments in the chat room about Michael Cole being the dad of Adam Cole. I just got it on the brain.
Well, someone was saying I'm the older brother of Sean Ross Sapp. I'd rather be Mr. Tito's brother, okay?
Anyways, we'll move away from that. Hamp Connell says, because Adam Cole is too small for Vince's taste. Vince would want to put him in red suspenders. No, they would legitimately make Adam Cole Michael Cole's son. That's a total WWE thing that they would do. I believe they would do that for sure. I'm sure they would at least run the idea by Vince.
Do what AEW would do. Turn the lights off and then shoot the camera in a way where Michael's like, son? And Adam Cole's like, father? And then they both look up, baby! if WWE wanted to go.
We moving on, Aaron?
I think we are. I'm not sure what's the deal with Chicago, but we had Steve-O on the other week, and we very much appreciate him being on, and Son, but something in Chicago with your guys' Wi-Fi, I'm telling you.
Everybody's on the internet.
Hot out here.
It's punk. It's CM Punk country. I'll tell you what it is. It's CM Punk country, and everybody's on their phone constantly talking about it, and that's what it is. It's slowing down the waves. All right, this topic here is to have fun. Okay, Jerry, Karrion Kross, right? main roster now, the new get-up, no Scarlett right now. And we have Baron Corbin's character, homeless, bum.
No.
This is as simple as this, and I think the chat's going to have fun with this.
Yeah.
Who's more compelling? Who's a better character on TV? They're both about the same. I mean, I don't think Corbin's winning at all. Kross is like 50-50. Go, Jerry.
Corbin is intentionally pathetic at this point. So that's the main difference there. I'm loving the Baron Corbin character because it's a huge fall from grace. He's like, king, and he's like champion. He's like got all these minions and everything. Now all of a sudden he's like down in the dumps. He's getting shot in the crotch with rockets. It's just a bad time to be Baron Corbin. But I think that just makes it. It's going to make it all the more gratifying if he actually does get a title win somewhere down the road. For probably just on some sort of fluke. But then he'll start building himself back up, and he'll become more and more obnoxious again. Like, he'll be grateful to the fans initially, but they'll be like, I don't need the fans. I did this myself, and it'll just go right back to plain old Baron Corbin. Like, I remember they had said they had already filed for a trademark for his name to be Happy Corbin. I don't know if there's any merit to that, but maybe that'll be bridge over into him maybe getting another Intercontinental or U.S. title run. But I don't see any world titles in his future, but I see another mid-card belt.
See, Jerry, I like content outside of the ring, and with this Corbin gimmick, we're getting tons of that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of it. And, it's not, I don't know where it's going to – I mean, it's not going to be like how when Mick Foley, the McMahon thing, remember back in the day, and then it created sympathy, and then Foley became the world champion.
Yeah.
But with Corbin, could you just imagine if he loses, he's down on his luck, and I don't know who it would be against, but could he have that one match that pops the crowd and they want him to win, and he goes over and they go nuts because he gets a win? Even if that's all it gets to, I'd be fine with that.
They've really missed an opportunity to bring back the Repo Man just for nostalgia purposes. They really missed out on that. But I think otherwise, yes, that would be super gratifying for him to come down for the dumps and actually have fan support, and then just take out one of the bigger heels in the company for a title just on a whim, and that'd be terrific. It'll be just like when Ryder and Hawkins won the tag belts. I think it was at WrestleMania that one year, because they both been on these massive losing streaks. All of a sudden they're tag team champions. That was amazing.
You know what I would like to see, Aaron? And then you can do the super chat with this Corbin thing. I would like for him to somehow stumble into a Universal title match on SmackDown against Roman. And remember how they did that false thing with Jericho and Triple H just to pop the crowd, but ultimately the belt never changed hands? Could you imagine if they did something like that with Roman over Reigns? And of course it didn't happen because –
over Reigns?
Or not Roman, you know what I meant, Corbin over Reigns, and then Heyman came back and they reversed the decision or something, just to pop the SmackDown crowd that night. I don't know. We'll see. What do you think here? I mean, nobody's really adding much about Karrion Kross because I think we kind of know what we're getting. Nothing.
I mean, it's so bad. I don't even care about Karrion Kross anymore. He's quickly becoming the new EC3. He really is.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna fizzle out so badly. They had such a good thing going with him. They had a badass entrance. You had Scarlett, you had the smoke, the lighting, and they took all of it away from him. Now
Scarlett tied everything together.
Yeah, he is gonna be like the new Mark Marrow in WWE, and maybe Scarlett ends up being the next Sable. Who knows? Hamp Connell sent in a $2 super chat. Says, how long before Karrion Kross is just Karrion?
Or just Kross.
Or just nobody cares about him and he's gone. Maybe he just gets everything stripped from him, just like Baron Corbin. Jay Hunter sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Jay. Says, Mr. Tito called Brock out of shape. Worst take yet.
I'm going to give Tito the benefit of the doubt there. He said it on Twitter that Brock was rushed back as a counter reaction to Punk, and maybe he wasn't quite in wrestling shape. Brock was definitely jacked.
How would he know with a shirt on?
Exactly. Brock looked a little thicker than normal, but with clothes on, I don't say you can say he was out of shape. So it was hard to judge that. I think Tito was just looking for a rise on Twitter.
Well, that could be the case. You and him have something in common. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, imagine Kross joining forces with T-Bar and Mace. Well, the way things are going, that might be in his future, and it's not going to be a good time for anybody involved.
That actually does sound like it would kind of work, almost like an acolytes like thing for him, like to his really crappy version of the Undertaker.
Yeah, like really crappy.
It's super crappy.
We have a $5 super chat from V Infuso. Thank you for that. It says, keep up the good work. It just remember like a wise old spray-tanned banana once said, don't work at work and work yourself into a shoot, brother. That's a classic.
I'm a master at my craft.
That is true. Mr. Tito with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Tito. Says, Jay Hunter, go watch Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 36. Dude was jacked. At SummerSlam, he wasn't in his usual shape, which indicates WWE rushed him back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, I was thinking all along Brock Lesnar was going to be at SummerSlam. I was saying this months ago, and when the reports were coming out that WWE wasn't going to be bringing him back, I was having a hard time believing that. My feeling was always going to be that if they could get him to agree, Brock Lesnar would be at SummerSlam. He wasn't in the exact role we thought he was going to be in, but he still showed up, and I think they were probably negotiating with him for months, trying to get him to come back as soon as possible. I figured as soon as fans were back, Brock was going to be back, and it was just going to be a matter of time. So Brock had to know that they were wanting him back. Now maybe he decided to not work out and he was going to play hardball, but I don't see him as that kind of guy. I think if they were talking to him and he knew that they were going to pay him the big bucks, he'd be getting his ass to the gym. So I'm not sure I buy that he's out of shape. I got to see him with his shirt off. Alberto Gomez sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Alberto. Says, the Corbin character is unique because he felt he was on top of the world, being a king. Now he's hit rock bottom. Literally, I mean, The Rock gave him one. I was there for that. I think so. Was that the first SmackDown on Fox? Nobody remembers?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
I know The Rock was there.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe that show was when Rock came out with Becky, and then Corbin got the rock bottom. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Psycho Jet Black. Says, would people cheer for a babyface Baron Corbin? I think it depends on the writing. It depends on how this storyline plays out. I certainly think there's a possibility they could.
It's all score who they put him against too.
Yep.
Your great baby faces are really determined by how great the heel is.
That's very true. I agree with that. And Jay Hunter and Tito going back and forth here a little bit. Jay Hunter with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jay Hunter. Says, when a UFC fighter or an athlete cuts weight and leans out, it means he's out of shape. Batista was jacked in 2014 when he returned and wasn't in shape. Good point there, Jay Hunter. And you guys can keep going back and forth. I'm not complaining.
I wouldn't.
Right now, I'm enjoying Baron Corbin more than Karrion Kross, and I really hate to say that because I was stoked for Kross. I thought they were going to do something special with him, but yeah, he's turning out to be just an entrance. Now, is that his fault?
You think he's going to get fed to Lesnar as another fortune of bad luck? Like he'll just stumble out there when Lesnar's in the ring, and then poor Corbin F5.
I'm starting to think that with Kross, he's probably just gonna disappear like EC3. Now Corbin, yeah, maybe he comes out there and gets an F5 from Lesnar. I could definitely see that happening. But right now, I would say that Baron Corbin has more momentum in WWE than Karrion Kross.
All right, now we got to get Son's opinion on this.
All right, so easily for me, it's Karrion Kross. When you debut him and Scarlett the way they did with that awesome entrance, and he goes over twice on Jeff Hardy, and you tease him and Keith Lee and not actually put them in a match, and the way they had that really cool whole, like the whole little TikTok clock thing and hourglass sand and not a generic one, and building him up as a main star that's going to be able to take on Lashley or Roman, it's really good. Easily Karrion Kross. And that's exactly what I would say in an alternate dimension where WWE did that. But here in reality, unfortunately, it's got to go for them doing the opposite of everything that I just said. It's got to go to Baron Corbin. Shout out to my buddy in the chat, SMP, because I am loving Pat McAfee's commentary every time Corbin comes out. Bum ass Baron Corbin. Hilarious. Dude cracks me up. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to, she won the TikTok WWE announcers contest. I think it was Rain Cruz. And I thought she did a fantastic job with enthusiasm introducing Big E. But then when she introduced Baron Corbin, she went all kind of mellow like Baron Corbin. That was awesome. So I love that everybody is just playing along. Even the guy in the music production, he put the song on like, oh, I forgot. Clicked off, and Baron's like, oh man. You were talking about getting over. Did anyone notice at SummerSlam, people were handing their money literally to Baron Corbin? They brought that much into the storyline, and Corbin, he looked like he wanted to go in, but he knew he couldn't take it. So now I'm like, I don't think WWE thought that part out in the storyline. I don't think they anticipated it would get so over that fans would be willing to give their own money. So now they got to come up with a way for that. So the whole Corbin situation is good, and that's what I'm talking about. Character development, doing something different. That's the whole reason why, like I said, I always liked Roman Reigns, but I wanted them to do something different with his character, and that finally got him to play himself, basically being a more authentic version of himself, as opposed to just trying to make him like John Cena 2.0. It's like Charlotte. I like Charlotte, but I want them to do something different. So this is always a plus. I'm huge into storytelling and character development first, and then have those make the matches mean even more. So I think if WWE plays their cards right, this might turn Corbin into a big babyface. I just question the logic of the storyline, because I'm like, it's been about 6-7 weeks, and has he really not made enough from those appearances in WWE that he's still barely making it to the arena? So I guess you got to really suspend your disbelief for that one.
I just thought of something really, really funny real quick. I think it'd be really great if they actually did let Baron Corbin collect money, like come down the ring, and then all of a sudden they like cut to the backstage. It's like, okay, that's third party, so we're gonna have to take percentage of that from you. Thank you, and just walk off like that'd be stupid.
But
you guys ready
to finish up?
Yeah.
It's not looking good for Kross right now. It just isn't. That's what I'm talking about. Just, you did everything that made him work in NXT, and now you just stripped it all away.
Thank you for that, son. And I agree with you on a lot of that. Alberto Gomez sent in a $5 super chat. Says Vince waited for Kross to lose the NXT title so he could do whatever he wanted to him. Pretty much, Kross is just at the mercy of Vince and Kevin Dunn and Bruce Pritchard and all those guys. And yeah, it's going to be a tough road for him unless they bring back Scarlett. And like, I just don't get it. I don't get what they're trying to do with him. And this whole thing, like, we gotta sell action figures and merchandise with the mask. The mask is terrible, so they should have come up with a better
that's what they're going
mask.
to do. Maybe they're going to bring Scarlett in almost like a Miss Elizabeth type that just kind of brings him back into, like, his old form from NXT. But it's only time will tell.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says Kross reminds me of Lord Humongous, Sid's old gimmick. Yeah, I kind of get that. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have made the Demolition comparison. I get that with the mask, although I kind of liked Demolition's gear better. The thing about Demolition, though, is that they came in, and that attire was pretty much with them from the beginning, so there was nothing else.
They weren't forced into it.
Yeah, with Kross, he already had something that was great. I think that's what's so frustrating about it, is that he had a great entrance, a great look, and now they're trying to change something that was working. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And they're changing it when it doesn't need to be changed. Alberto Gomez with a $2 super chat says Baron Corbin needs Cameron Grimes.
To the moon!
He should do that. They should have Baron Corbin on NXT to try to steal the $1 million title or try
that'd be great.
steal Cameron Grimes' money or something.
Or Robbie the Butler, like somebody suggested.
I would be all for that. And, if I didn't really talk about NXT, my thoughts on the changes. I do think they need to change up the show and give it a different look and push some different people and just try to make it a different brand, because right now it just feels outdated. It feels like it hasn't been relevant in years, and it's better to try something than to just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So I think at this point you gotta do a shake up with NXT, and we'll see what happens with that. I'm hopeful that it'll pick up in a couple of weeks once they start going to live shows again. But yeah, there's an idea. Get Corbin there on NXT and maybe bring in some different people that are not being utilized on the main roster in there just to shake things up a little bit. All right. We're caught up.
No, I do not have to take a leak, Tito. Main event time. CM Punk returned to wrestling. AEW, Rampage, Chicago. Everybody knew it was going to happen. It happened. Came out at the beginning of the show. Popped the crowd. Really popped the crowd because it was Chicago. And here we are. And it was the biggest return of the weekend, right? I'm not going to come out here and say Becky was or Brock was, or because WWE did 2, it's better than 1. It's weird that they decided to do it on Rampage. I mean, I get it because it was in Chicago.
Right.
I know there's going to be a Chicago Dynamite coming up. I just thought Dynamite was their flagship show. And because he debuted on Rampage, and then what's Rampage going to become, a taped show now?
I think that it's just 1 week. They're doing more live shows coming up.
But then he was in the middle of the show cutting up basically the same promo, more or less, with Tony Schiavone. Like you said, Aaron, last night, there's this weird Tony Schiavone interviewing him when Punk's just kind of that sit in the middle of the ring and just go and not like follow a question format. But it was the best return, one of the greatest returns of all time. I mean, maybe the best, right? When something just happens, I'm not the one that says, this is the best. I need it to grow on me over time. So everybody, we're going to go around the horn, and you're going to give your thoughts on how AEW did this, how they perceived them on Dynamite, which to me, they were down to like 900 and some thousand for a couple weeks. Punk brought them back up to that 1.1, 1.2 million. I thought it was going to be a little higher. I guess we have to kind of see how this goes. If they keep bringing in Daniel Bryan's and maybe Bray Wyatt's, and we'll have to see how the traction goes there. But I do have a problem. And it's not because CM Punk blocked me. I didn't tag him. I think I was trying to go back to see the last time I actually tagged Punk, and it might have been like 2014, 2015. But I made fun of the crying fans, right? Because that's what I do on Twitter. I called him a carny, but I was doing it out of that's where the wrestling business came from. And I was putting him over as great at his craft because he has his fan base in the palm of his hand. He did it. He came out with the coat over, the hoodie or whatever it was, revealed the T-shirt. Look at the lines of the merch. He is a master of his craft. He is awesome. And if me saying those things made like he vanity searched himself, or maybe SRS on that other website had to go tattle to him because he doesn't like me, I was flattered because I still like CM Punk, right? And I'll get what he tweets from like Aaron or whatever. I'm still going to follow him. But I was concerned when I saw the trolls out there. I wasn't trolling CM Punk ever. Skinny. He looks like he's sick. He's old. And I did a check mark. Aaron actually liked it, I think, on Twitter. He's 42. He's not old, people. Okay? Right. He's thin. He's skinny because he doesn't have that WWE bulk, which is probably for somebody like his size, not healthy.
Yeah.
So that's his size. That's his body size. He's fine. He's wrestling Darby Allin first. He'll be okay. And he's tired because he's training. Look what he's doing with Aleister Black, Malachi Black. So the haters out there, the trolls, cut CM Punk some slack. The man's putting in the work after not doing it for 7 years. Who wants to start here? Son?
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go. So, as far as CM Punk goes, the return itself, I didn't really get hype in terms of the rumors because I kind of just wanted to wait for the moment to happen. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to throw anything into all the hints and stuff. I just want to see when the moment happens, and when it happened, amazing. That's basically, I was in that wait until it happens. Once it happens, then I'll believe it when I see it, and I saw it, and it was amazing. The reaction was thunderous. I was there 10 years ago in the Allstate Arena for that thunderous reaction he got at Money in the Bank, and I could only imagine it was just amplified in the much bigger United Center. Just huge reaction. Definitely going to go down as one of the greatest returns of all time. I might as well talk about this crying fan. So I actually did not know this got blown into a big deal online when they showed the crying fan on the camera cut to the crying fan. I was like, okay, he's really happy to see Punk back. It meant a lot to him. I'll offer a little alternative opinion because I know a lot of people are making fun of him. This is the way I think I see it. I was taught at a very young age, you never know what place a person is at. For all we know, that guy has probably been through some hard stuff in life, and perhaps for him, CM Punk that was his only form of entertainment that he had that probably resonated with him during a tough time in his life. So to see CM Punk back, that probably just brings him back to just to be in a better place in life. You just never know. Eric Bischoff put it best. He's learning. He said he learned right now that when you look at pro wrestling, that's what really ends up mattering a lot when it comes to the fans, is that they'll come up to him and be like, hey, me and my uncle bonded so many times watching what you were doing in wrestling, and it's these moments that resonate. So I would say for that guy, I don't know what he's been through, but he's probably been through some stuff, and it's just basically that's how hard it's with him. But if that's the emotion it brings out to him, more power to him, man, because at the end of the day, we watch wrestling, whether it's to be emotionally affected that way. So I say more props to him there. And then in terms of CM Punk, like I said, great promo on Rampage. I think they just wanted to really show, hey, Rampage is not just our second show and you can just skip it and go Wednesdays. They want to say, hey, big stuff's going to happen. I'm actually been enjoying Rampage more than I have Dynamite. It feels like because they have that 1 hour, they got to really get everything in there and keep things short and sweet to the point. What I will say, unfortunately, and this is the problem that I have when it comes to AEW, I feel there's too much of a focus put on like just trying to attract the hardcore fans. They've got that already over the million. I want to see them try to attract the larger fan base of that mainstream audience, get those fans back that no longer watch WWE. I heard a lot of I saw tweets of people saying, I haven't watched wrestling in years, and I'm watching CM Punk, and I'm like, oh, I saw this Luchasaurus guy, I need to stay. My brother, who we grew up watching wrestling, he stopped watching recently. He came and told me like, hey, yo, I saw CM Punk was in WWE, it was in AEW, and it looks really cool. And I'm like, who's this guy with the face paint, Darby Allin? Because that looks sick and everything. I'm like, good, this is what you want. But on Dynamite, it felt like, it almost like they needed to put on a pay-per-view quality show, because there's new people watching this. Start off hard with CM Punk. Do something with him and Darby Allin having a face-off. I like the CM Punk promo was good, but just the way they kind of flowed, and at the ending of the show, I don't know, it just felt like they needed to go hard. I was watching your review, Aaron. I left a comment and said, I agree. They should have done more, and that's what I want to see, more of AEW. They got Daniel Bryan. They're going to have obviously Bryan Danielson soon, as Punk hinted to. You've got CM Punk, you've got people talking. Go hard with creating more characters and storylines. Do what the WWE is not doing. So when I tune into AEW, it feels like it's not just a lot of matches put together, but everybody's got something going, and that's my only thing. I think AEW right now is way more exciting than WWE. Just it has this energy and atmosphere that you don't get on Monday Night Raw, with long matches that basically just go on for commercial breaks and gets turned to tag team match, 8 tag team matches. But if we're gonna criticize WWE here, we have to criticize AEW, because hopefully AEW, like CM Punk said, there's people there who actually are going to listen, and the more AEW can focus to just bring in more of that mainstream audience, then hopefully they get to that real great alternative to be with WWE. But right now, a great time for AEW. I just hope that Tony Khan can keep the momentum going.
He's going to think about it. That locker room's only getting bigger with bigger wrestling stars. That's when I'm going to see how Tony Khan can execute being a owner and a wrestling promoter. And I told the people that want to put him over for just bringing an alternative to WWE, okay, put him over early. He has to earn it from my point of view. I didn't just like Vince McMahon overnight. I didn't like Paul Heyman overnight. You know what I mean? I didn't like Eric Bischoff for the longest time. Then I went back and I'm like, they earned my respect by what they did, and I'm going to make Tony Khan the same thing. He has to earn it. Who wants to go next? Aaron, Jerry?
Well, I'll go next because I wanted to bring up the numbers for Dynamite. Very interesting to me. I've had people tell me that Rampage was the first show they watched in a long time. And Caitlin doesn't really follow AEW too much, but she was watching Rampage. However, the downside is that I also had people telling me that they turned it off right after CM Punk's promo.
Yes.
And if you look at those quarter-hour numbers for Rampage, they did lose viewers as the show went on. Instead of those people sticking around, a couple 100,000 people just tuned right out. At that point, when I saw those Rampage numbers, my expectations for Dynamite went down. At first, like a couple weeks ago, I really thought they had a chance of breaking their record from the first show. Like they would have done over 1.4 million. But then after that Rampage number came in and I saw the quarter hours, I was like, well, I think those people are already gone. And on Dynamite, it was a good show, but I did have my issues with it. The whole Lee Johnson thing at the end was ridiculous. But yeah, like Sun said, I'm surprised that they did not do more of a pay-per-view quality show on Wednesday to try and hook some of the potential new viewers that were maybe watching AEW for the very first time. And shout out to Big G. He's here, better late than never.
Whoa. He said, because he wanted to be on tonight, and I said 5 is too many because it goes too long. Oh, I'll be in the chat moderating. And he just now gets in here at 9:10 Eastern. I just had to throw that out there.
Oh, he sent in a $5 super chat. So Big Baller G coming through here says, my voice is still raspy from the show.
Oh, no. He better go get tested, bro. COVID tested. Your wedding's next week. You better be all right.
Well, I mean, he did the whole 14 days beforehand. Hopefully everything's good to go for the wedding. But, yeah, I really wanted to go to Rampage, but I made the conservative decision to stay home for that one and not take the risk. But it's funny because I see very few people wearing masks at those shows. And I think for Chicago, they already had that mandate. But there's a joke on Reddit, which was kind of savage, but I thought it was funny. And the comment was that if wrestling fans don't wear deodorant, how are you going to get them to follow CDC guidelines? And I was like, well,
I said, oh, that might have been the thing that got me blocked if he saw it. And again, I didn't tag him in it. I said, instead of handing out ice cream bars, they should have handed out sticks of the speed stick or something. Whatever.
Yeah. And as I said on my review, like, I forgot, like, halfway through, I was, like, thinking, what the hell is the main event if CM Punk's not in the main event? And then I was like, oh, it's Brock Anderson versus Malachi Black. They're putting that in the main event spot. So I have the quarter hours here. The biggest quarter hour was the first quarter hour. They had 1.241 million. And the lowest quarter hour was at the end, 1.088, and that was Malachi Black versus Brock Anderson. So if it was me, and of course this is after the fact, so it's easy to say, but I mean, I would have put CM Punk at the beginning and then teased him for something at the end, maybe be a special enforcer or something. Yep. Get CM Punk on as much as possible, and you don't have to have him in a match, but you could have him out there as like an enforcer or something. Just something to get people hooked and get the buzz going and get people talking. Like, let's be real.
Like Austin in the Attitude Era showed up at the beginning of every Raw, and he did something at the end.
You mentioned Austin. Remember when Steve Austin made his return at Unforgiven 2000? He had so many different spots throughout the night because they knew people were going to pay that pay-per-view to see Steve Austin back. Shoot, who forgets the Just Joe? Like, hey, I'm Just Joe. Oh, he's like, Joe who? And he's like, Just Joe. He said, well, I heard something too. Just Joe's a no good sorry son of a bitch.
I remember that right after he came back.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there wasn't enough to really get people talking about AEW. Like, imagine tuning in to AEW and at the end of that show, you see Lee Johnson. Let's be real here. Most people that are not following AEW, hell, even people that are following AEW, they might not even know who Lee Johnson is, especially people that are watching for the first time. So they see Malachi Black in there, and then this random guy walks down to the ring, and then Malachi Black is backing away from him and getting out of the ring. it was not a good look if you're trying to hook new people on the show. Now, of course, I'm sure they'll do fine, and Daniel Bryan's coming in. I'm sure Punk will have some great matches, but yeah, I mean, sometimes you only get one shot to get those new viewers hooked, and once they're gone, they're gone. So I feel like maybe they missed the boat with Dynamite. I thought Rampage was great. I loved everything about it, but I think they kind of missed the mark a little bit with the show this week on Dynamite. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, should Dynamite do more backstage skits? If they're good, I don't mind them, but I think if you do that, you risk hurting your goodwill with your existing audience because they like the current format. So I'm not sure how I feel about that one.
Well, I enjoyed the Dan Lambert promo, and I like that that was probably a pre-tape because he wasn't there this week, so they probably did that last week. That's the magic of wrestling television. But I like how they didn't have him out in the crowd, right? Because when you have a polarizing figure that those fans are going to hate, you don't want to overexpose him early if he's going to say a lot of negative things. And you know what I like, Aaron, about what they're doing with Dan Lambert? They're putting some wrestlers with him. Let's try to get some wrestlers over, not just MMA guys.
Yeah, they got another faction now. There you go.
Yeah, but with a good mouth, with a great mouthpiece, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, true. The game is on 100. Sent in $2. Said, "Wow, 197,000 more viewers than last week. LOL." Well, it's good. I mean, it was a bump. But yeah, they were down from other weeks, and they did do numbers in the 1.1, 1.2 range a couple of times. Granted, those were bigger episodes of Dynamite. But yeah, I was hoping AEW could have done closer to their record. Didn't happen, but the demo was really high, and everybody says that's the important number. So it was still a success for AEW. They're still doing well. They still got the momentum, but you know what? SmackDown has momentum too. They got Brock Lesnar and Becky Lynch. Wrestling's just doing well right now, and it was a very good week for the site, and I'm glad that we got these big names, and I'm just hopeful that everything with COVID going on, I don't think anything's going to shut down, but, having fans back is definitely a big plus. CM Punk, that was, one of the greatest moments in wrestling of the past decade. Now, Big G sent in a $5 super chat, says, I wore my mask. It's all the cheering I did for Punk. Well, thank you for that, Big G, and I'm glad you did wear your mask at the show. Let's see. I think we're caught up here now. Alberto says he sent a super chat earlier. I might have missed it. All right. Well, I'm going to look for that. In the meantime, I guess we could throw it over to Jerry with his thoughts on CM Punk.
I've been a CM Punk fan since his days in IWA Mid-South. So that's going a way back, even before Ring of Honor, before TNA, before WWE, before OVW, because I got to see him at house shows in OVW. So his return to me was huge. I love the fact that he's back in a company and actually back professional wrestling, as he actually put it. I thought that was like a really great promo he cut. But my problem was with it was the fact that, he did this great promo. There's this huge pop and everything, but that pretty much killed that crowd, pretty much for the remainder of that show. Yeah, they had a reaction to the matches and whatnot, but by that time, they were exhausted emotionally, physically. They were just done. And I'm wondering, or I'm actually worrying that they're going to start treating Punk almost like Urkel for Family Matters. They brought Urkel in, and it completely changed the dynamic to the show to the point where the rest of the show became an afterthought. Everybody wanted to see what Urkel was going to do. Urkel this, Urkel that.
That's a great point, Jerry. Absolutely.
And
well, I don't think he meant to do that.
But that's one of my main fears. And two, that maybe Tony Khan will actually start becoming, even bigger in his head, and all of a sudden Punk and Khan become Hogan and Bischoff all over again. I do not want to see that happen because the Bucks, Omega, Hangman Page, they all worked, and Cody Rhodes even, they worked incredibly hard to get AEW to at least where it's at right now. But now to bring in all these other stars and your Punk, your Bryan Danielson, all these guys that are Vince is letting slip through his fingers and let go are coming to AEW, and that's going to take a lot of shine off these guys that CM Punk says he's going to elevate. CM Punk doesn't care about elevation. He does not care about the fans. He said for 2 reasons he'd only come back to wrestling for 2 reasons: a crap ton of money, or good storylines. And that's going to be a lot more TV time for him, and a lot more money for him. And AEW, from what I gather, is still in the red, and they're going to continue being in the red as long as they keep on bringing in more and more people. They're never going to make a profit. It's just going to be just always just right on the edge. But I'm thrilled to have Punk back. If Punk does a Pepsi plunge to like Darby Allin at the pay-per-view, I'm going to pop so hard for that. It's frightening because I've needed a pedigree off the top rope for like the past 10 years. I haven't gotten to see it. So, yeah, that's the only thing that really bothered me about it is the fact that like Tony Khan more or less blew his load real quick on the Rampage show. And everything else kind of became an afterthought after that. Like, basically, if you look at the Rampage show from here on, people were like, "Oh man, that's nice. CM Punk returned." Like, what matches followed that? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, great points there, Jerry. Your cat. We need your cat back on camera. I think your cat wants to be back on camera.
No, he wants outside. I don't know why he wants outside for. He keeps on yelling at the door.
By the way, Jerry, so did you get everything in on CM Punk? Because I think we can get close to wrapping it up. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, we're all on the same page here. Now, Aaron,
a few more super chat.
Well, before you get to them, I see the chat once again talking about Roman Reigns more than CM Punk during the CM Punk main event spot of the show. I rest my case, and here's what I'm going to throw at you, to all the Roman haters. So if you go and look at the WWE stock since they've been a publicly traded company, and this is by coincidence, but right, anything by coincidence, you can use it in your favor. That's the magic of numbers. Look at John Cena, face of WWE, about 2005. You saw where the WWE, if you go to Yahoo and you pull it up and you go back the whole year that the stock existed, put the face of the company, put little John Cena's face there, and then in about, 2015, 16, put Roman's face there, and watch that skyrocket. Why? I'm going to read you this tweet that I did. Nobody has had it more difficult to be the number one guy to Vince McMahon than Roman Reigns because he battled leukemia. The toxic fans that got to tweet their displeasures when they were getting forced something they didn't want, okay? The John Cena effect. He had to be Vince McMahon's Cena 2.0. What kind? We all know Cena had that 50-50 reaction for a decade. Of course, I said the social media era, the streaming era, where there was no house shows anymore. It was all for streaming revenue. Okay, working with part-timers. What main eventers did Roman have to work with other than part-timers? And he had to follow those shitty scripts. Nobody, being the top guy in WWE, has ever had it as hard as Roman Reigns. And you all shit on him. He got the most fans to give him any emotion than anybody ever, even more than CM Punk did on Rampage when he beat The Undertaker that next night on Raw. And I don't care if it's because they were voicing their displeasure. They were making a reaction to Roman Reigns. Go back and watch that. That is glorious. Now he became a heel with Paul Heyman, and of course, a lot of those fans that hated it like him now because it's creative and he's outside of the box, no handcuffs. So when you're throwing shade at Roman Reigns during my CM Punk main event segment, you're disrespecting CM Punk. That's who I wanted to talk about, yet there's people in the chat talking about Roman Reigns, my guy. I just had to point that out, by the way, okay? When I look at both of those guys, when I watch WWE, it's because of Roman Reigns, because of the way fans react to him, okay? That's how I have fun. When I watch AEW, especially now, I got something to look forward to. It's because CM Punk. Why can't people enjoy both things? Why do we have to pick sides? That was the moral of my story, Aaron. Go ahead. I know you got some.
That was a Noah Foster rant right there. It's like just enjoy wrestling in general. We're in a spot where both brands or any brands are just doing fantastic with what they're doing.
CM Punk blocked me, and I'm okay with that. I'm still putting him over. Okay? Mm-hmm. Yet people have to shit on Roman because he's Vince McMahon's guy. He's no talent. Okay, you don't have to like him. Then just talk about who you like instead of talking about who you hate. Okay,
and
Aaron,
Virtue,
I'm going to zip my lip.
And Virtue, Roman did that interview where he said that CM Punk doesn't move the needle. He's a heel.
Yes.
He said
Paul
that.
Heyman probably told him to say that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like people are taking it personally, like he's like just being a
supposed
dick.
to get the
but
people talking.
He's playing a heel character.
Oh, and I did one other research, Aaron. I went back and looked at WWE's Punk popped YouTube for AEW. Those two, whatever they put on from big time. And they don't have the follow the subscribers that WWE has. But I did go and I checked WWE's out of their anything that was over 100 million views gross. Only 20, I think Roman was in 20 of them. And I went from like 100 million higher. It might have been 50 million and higher. Roman was in 20 videos, whether he was the feature, the Shield, whatever it was. And Cena was like in 20 to 22 of them. They were the leaders, right? That's the era. SmackDown ratings are down. Raw ratings are down. Wrestling ratings are down in general because viewers consume it differently now. It's just that's where we are. They throw shade at Roman, but it's wrestling in general. It's different, right, Aaron?
Yeah. All right, let's get to the super chat. Alberto sent in that super chat earlier.
This is a microphone.
There you go. Hopefully,
a pipe bomb.
Here it is. It was so far back. Okay, Alberto said, ever since AEW debuted, I haven't watched one televised show. Now with CM Punk returning, I just need to. That's how big of a star he is. Now the question, Alberto, is, are you going to keep watching it, or did you just tune in once to see what the fuss was about, and now that you're done with it,
change the channel?
You're changing the channel. So I'm curious to know. And just curious for people that did watch Dynamite for the first time, your take on it, and if you're going to keep watching it. That's what I'm really curious about at this point. I may ask people on Twitter for their thoughts, too, on this. David sent in a €2 super chat. Thank you, David. Says, do you think we'll see CM Punk versus Sting?
No.
If CM Punk wants to do it, it could happen, but I think
maybe
CM
in a
Punk
tag.
would. Yeah, maybe.
I think more than likely after Darby Allin, they'll find some way of like moving him over to MJF.
Yeah, that's one of the matches I want to see. I want to see CM Punk versus MJF.
The promos alone for that are going to be straight fire.
Because MJF's character will make fun of those crying fans regardless, because that's what heels are supposed to do.
Yes. Oh yeah,
I think that's right there what could potentially get that mainstream audience. Two dudes just going out there talking a bunch of trash, throwing some verbal bombs. Like that's the stuff that's gonna draw people. Like, oh, we gotta check this AEW out, and both can talk.
I would pay $50 to watch that match if they built that up.
I'd pay $50 just to watch the two talk in the ring.
Yeah, you know what was great the past few weeks in wrestling? When Roman Reigns and John Cena got in the ring and started taking verbal jabs at each other. Like, I love the trash talking when two guys are just ripping into each other and just throwing bombs. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to hear that with MJF and CM Punk. I'm stoked for that one. I think that has a lot of potential to be a big hit. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, CM Punk destroys Tony's office. Did I do that? What's that a reference to?
Family Matters. Urkel. Hey, the Urkel reference though, Jerry. Who said Urkel? Was that you, Jerry?
Yeah.
That lasted 9 or 10 seasons. I know it got hokey at the end, but I mean, Urkel became the face of that franchise.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, the show became completely about him and not so much the show, like the actual family matters.
Virtue, you always say email your complaints to nodqmisc@gmail.com. Well, we have one right here. I'm not sure if you can read that. It might not be legible.
I can't. No, but I know someone emailed. Well, go ahead. What did he say?
Virtue's statement on the growth of stock is not about John Cena and Roman Reigns. There are multitudes of factors. Times of war, recession, hedge fund manipulation. You could say he got a reaction out of me. True, which is what he wants. I actually like the guy, but that's false and misleading information.
Whoa. Go back to listen to what I said. Guys, you were on this live video with me. As I was saying it, did I not say this is me kind of exaggerating the coincidence of when Roman came to be the number one guy because the way that the business model changed for WWE. I specifically stated that, but I was going to go with it because if you can take something to your advantage in an argument, Cena's picture is when the stock was down here. Roman's picture is when it trended up. I said that was a coincidence, but I'm going to use it because why not? So before you complain to Aaron Rift, listen to everything I have to say. Thank you.
All right, then. There's Virtue's response. Well said. Okay, so now the 90s guy sent in an $8, I think, Australia super chat. I think that's what the
Nice.
A is. He says, I'm so stoked CM Punk is back again. It feels like wrestling is fun again for the first time in a while. Good day and much love from Australia. So it is, in fact, from Australia. I should have looked at the comment.
What I super love about this, though? Is the fact that they're saying like CM Punk is the greatest wrestling comeback ever, and the dude hasn't even wrestled yet.
Yeah. I mean,
Jim Cornette put it best. He built got a whole audience to come
On a
to
rumor.
On a rumor, and even he praised Jim Cornette of all people praised how AEW handled CM Punk's debut.
and that tells you something. When Jim Cornette is praising AEW, then you know they've done something well.
You know when Punk, I mean, he won me over no matter what he was going to do this past week. He had watery eyes, right?
Oh yeah,
I'm not going to cry like the fan, but like whether he really had that, right? Because actors can think of something sad in their personal lives to make them cry. He could have sniffed a bag of onions, or he could have really felt that way. That he connected with those fans, and that is brilliant.
we'll just have to see how he reacts to other fans other than the ones in Chicago, because like I think it's also the fact that he was in his hometown at that point. Millions of people cheering him on. He must have felt like Jordan in there. He really must have.
All right, let's get to the next super chat, which is from Psycho Jet Black. Always good for a laugh. He says, Urkel is more over than Karrion, EC3, and Ricochet.
Now we're in After Dark.
No lies detected there. And we move on to David McGinnis with a €2 super chat. Says, who will be the first person to body slam Omos? We're kind of going off topic here a little bit, but we still got some more CM Punk super chats. Maybe Karrion Kross if he's lucky. Maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe Big E. That'd be a good spot for Big E when you're building them up.
Ooh, that's a good one. If Big E gets drafted over to Raw, I could see that as a possibility.
If he can somehow pull it off, and it's just a bunch of rage. I'd love to see Riddle actually do it, and like Randy Orton get taken by surprise by it.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Because you see Riddle just like getting all sorts of amped up and just pick him up and like slam him, and then Orton's over on the ring apron like.
We have a $2 super chat from Detective Mocha. He says, we have to realize TV is dying. Had to buy Sling, LOL. Well, I think the ratings still count if you're watching it on Sling.
Cool.
And yeah, pretty much everyone's doing streaming now. There's so many streaming channels.
I use Sling myself.
A little ridiculous.
I feel like one of the archaic people that still have cable because I need my DVR. I don't know. I need my home shopping network.
Sling has DVR.
Yep.
I know. It's a habit thing. I don't know.
Yeah. You're like my mom.
I probably overpay by $50 to $75, but whatever.
Alberto Gomez sent in a $10 super chat. Thank you, Alberto. Says, suspend disbelief. Forget about these ratings wars. If you like AEW, good for you. If you like WWE, then great. Just enjoy your taste of wrestling and be glad it exists. It helped me get past the bad times.
There we go. That's acceptable super chat.
Very well
Hey,
said.
I want to shout out Alberto. That's exactly what I was talking about with that crying fan. Like, you never know when it's so much. Wrestling is so much just entertainment to us, but you just never know how it can really take someone out of a bad place in life. So yeah.
I was about to say, for all the grief it gets, like a lot of the episodes of like Raw and SmackDown when we were in quarantine and they didn't have the fans or anything, that's some of the best work they've actually done. It's the fact that they were like, they didn't have that audience to perform in front of, and a lot of it was taped. But
It got so hard too.
We got some really great content that actually helped them, like practice and brush up and build their characters. Yep. I don't think without that we would have gotten like as great of a Roman Reigns character as we did. Because like people were waiting to see what the response was going to be to him once the fans came back, and they popped extremely hard for him. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful state that we're in now.
Dude, this show has went way over than I thought. People are super chatting, having a good time. Everybody has their opinions in the chat. Aaron, isn't that what it's all about? Isn't that what took you back to WWF, WCW?
Yeah, for sure. And I just wanted to say this. First of all, I like this comment here. I didn't even realize this whole time that I have a Mario shirt and you have a Sonic shirt. I totally missed that.
Oh, totally unplanned. By the way, Mario kicked Sonic's ass in the grand scheme of things. I know that. But I still like Sonic.
Hour and a half, I didn't even realize that. Anyways, I just wanted to say I agree completely with that comment. It's fine to like both shows. And as far as us critiquing the shows, that is my job, and everyone else is here for the ride. When I talk about the numbers and everything, I'm not trying to spin them. I'm not trying to say, oh, AEW's better, WWE's better. I just comment on the numbers and give my opinion on what I think the numbers mean. And that's really all I'm doing. And as I critique each show, I'm just trying to give my honest and fair opinion on each show. I want both companies to succeed. And as far as I'm concerned, they both are succeeding. And wrestling's doing really well right now. And like I said earlier, it was a very good week for the site. And I'm grateful that wrestling is in a good place right now. And we have the fans back, and both shows are doing well. Maybe not Raw as much, but hey, they got over 2 million this week. They were up also.
I was shocked, Aaron. Maybe that was some CM Punk. Maybe CM Punk spiked that Raw number. Think about it.
I mean, maybe people decided to give SummerSlam a chance because they tuned in for Punk and like, you know what, SummerSlam's coming up, maybe I'll give it a shot. So you could be right on that one.
It could very well be. It's like what's Vince going to do to top this whole CM Punk thing? We have to watch SummerSlam to see what's going to happen.
At Virtue, you got your fans. Marshall Leonard, he's praising your work here in the chat room. So,
I mean, I know, on Twitter, it's over the top. But my wrestling opinions, I like Jim Cornette. I like Dan Lambert. I like Roman Reigns. I've told everybody when I was growing up, I liked everybody against Hulk Hogan. I liked the Heenan family. Am I wrong for liking what other the heels or even Roman when he was pushed as a babyface, but everybody hated it, and so I liked it? That's how I get my entertainment, and we all have the right to be entertained the way we want to be. Maybe I should be a little nicer to some of you on Twitter. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe next year, New Year's resolution. We'll see.
And Mike B sent in a $10 super chat. Thank you, Mike B. He says, first off, congratulations to Aaron on getting the blue check mark on Twitter. Well, thank you for that. That was for the NoDQ account. Unfortunately, my personal account got denied, but
your name doesn't matter, Aaron.
Next time I apply, which I have to wait 30 days, but next time I apply, I will take note in the application that I work for a Twitter account that is verified, and hopefully that will be enough. It'll be funny if that's what it takes for me to actually get the check mark on the.
Man, these questions are rolling in, or these chats. Wow.
And the rest of his comment says, secondly, unfortunately, we'll never get to see it, but in my opinion, it'll be awesome to see a match between today's CM Punk and Roman Reigns.
I mean, I would drop everything. I would be there. I would be there at that event, but we probably will never ever get it.
Yeah, I would buy a ticket for that for sure. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, should CM Punk join forces with Danielson and Adam Cole? I almost said Michael again. Every time you got to put Adam Cole, or else I start thinking Michael Cole. So please, in the future, distinguish between Adam Cole and Michael Cole for me, please.
Just the baby.
Yeah, baby, that works too. That would be interesting, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think CM Punk's going to be more or less a lone wolf in AEW, and I don't think you need more factions. It would be kind of cool to have an outsider faction, but I don't think CM Punk should be part of it. Just my opinion, but anybody else have an opinion on it?
I'll say I do think we'll get another Bryan Danielson versus CM Punk match, because Daniel's popularity just blew up right after Punk left. So I think just the idea of both of them being as big of stars as they are now, but competing in AEW would be good. Have them have that big match that maybe they never got in WWE, like kind of Cody and Dustin did.
But back to your comment about factions in AEW, Aaron. I think the only other one we need at this point would be like Malachi Black to almost have like a cult, almost like a mixture between the Wyatt family and Raven's flock from back in the day. Just pretty much taking these guys that are like either disillusioned or screwed up there in AEW, taking them under his wing, and then like teach him his ways. I think that'd be really cool.
I like that.
Otherwise, I think they need to go ahead and like stick with CM Punk being solo because that's going to be his best work. I'm interested to see how his interaction with Cabana is going to be. That is something that's going to like float into the back of my mind. It's like Colt Cabana is still in that locker room with CM Punk. So I'm waiting to see how that plays out on TV.
And he was backstage on Dynamite this week, but Jerry, I like your idea. Like, we've seen a lot of factions recreated over the years, but we really haven't seen like a full-blown flock type faction in a mainstream promotion. To my knowledge,
I can see him plucking out of different groups, like Stu Grayson out of the Dark Order. I can see like Anna Jay coming back and him like
stealing. That would be an interesting, like the faction member stealer or something like that, where he's like stealing,
just reverting them over to his side. It would be
and brainwashing them one at a time, and like taking one guy to build his own super faction. I kind of like that. I think that would be a really cool idea. All right, let's get to more of these super chats because we do have a lot. I very much appreciate it, everyone. We might hit 2 hours tonight.
Aaron's going to get in trouble.
Well, this one's quick. Shanti. That's it. Thank you for that, Shanti. It's Psycho Jet Black sent in $2. Thank you, Psycho. Says, Tommy Dreamer is helping crying fan to visit AEW.
I read that, and that's awesome.
Which is very cool. At Virtue, next time you're at a wrestling show, you got good seats, somebody's coming out there for a big moment, you gotta turn on the water.
Especially if it's Roman Reigns, you'll do it.
Because you might get on TV, you might get free shoes, you might get to go to an event. I wonder if this is gonna lead to more copycats now, where people
probably
start doing the fake crying to try to get like free stuff now.
You know what? It would be hilarious if someone gets caught spraying something in their eyes and they have to throw the bottle out and pretend like they're crying. Like, oh, no, those weren't real. That guy had real emotion, but it's not you, sir.
Or just, spray yourself with the water or whatever, like this.
Ricochet's return was so beautiful.
Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. I got water in my eyes now. Legend of Zelda is better than Mario and Sonic.
I agree. I mean, I like all of them, but yeah, like Zelda games are great.
Storyline continuity-wise, absolutely.
Matt Helms with a $5 super chat says, do you think Jeff Hardy is done? No, I don't think he's done. I think they're just not going to push him at a high level, which is too bad because he's got no more words again, and I think they should give him another run, but it just depends on when there's a storyline for him and when they can fit him in somewhere. Guys get lost in the shuffle. I think he'll be around, and if they need the veteran for something, they'll throw him in there.
I know it's already been talked to death about, but if he does move to AEW, maybe keep him separate from Matt, but have him doing his own thing. Because I wouldn't mind seeing a Jeff Hardy versus Darby Allin feud. I think that'd be just them trying to one up each other the entire time. That would be awesome.
Everyone's gonna think I'm sweating now, and I just poured water on myself. I need a towel like Sun at the beginning of this.
You're glistening.
Virtually. I got it. I'm shooting. It's hot out
Mo
here in
Cameron
Chicago.
Right
Good. We haven't even done plugs.
Mo Camera with a $2.79 super chat says, still getting goosebumps from Bork Laser return. Well, that's how we know Mo Camera's trolling everybody, because he's using the Bork Laser line, which is something that people did back in the day as a way of trolling. I think we all knew all along he was trolling. Oh, we got Shanti here with another $5 super chat. Thank you, Shanti. Says, for Aaron, if recapping wrestling, what would you be doing for a living? Just curious, from your friendly neighborhood, Shanti. That's a good question. I really don't know. I might have been doing Uber driving and hating it.
Once more cat videos.
You would have still been running. You would have been running some type of website.
I always thought about like buying a van and just driving. I wish I could do like food reviews.
Photographer. That's what you would have been, a photographer.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I like all these people that do videos where they just eat and they make money doing that and they travel and go to different places. There's a couple of different things. I think I would have done something with.
They call them gypsies. Or nomads.
Video editing or
Nomad, vagabond, call them what you will.
But thank you for the super.
I apparently have a question from, I believe, Calvin. He asked if I think Brock Lesnar can beat Roman Reigns for the Universal title. If WWE books it that way, yes, but I hope not. Brock Lesnar needs to lose it. He's gotten all the most dominant wins you could ever ask for against Roman Reigns. It's Roman's time to shine and get that 100% clean victory over Brock.
I agree. He should definitely be beating Brock, and then they could stretch this out for a while. Like I said earlier, the whole Paul Heyman idea, where maybe Brock Lesnar buys into it and goes over to Raw and fights Bobby Lashley and then eventually wins the title. And then he's back over, hey, Roman, what about our match now? And then Paul Heyman's got to come up with another excuse to try and delay the match. And they could theoretically delay it until Survivor Series or Royal Rumble. But yeah, eventually Roman should beat Brock Lesnar clean to set up The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Now, Alberto Gomez sent in a $2 super chat, says, Adam Cole or CM Punk?
CM Punk.
CM Punk.
Britt Baker is actually more over than Adam Cole at this point.
Ouch. Yeah,
it's not even a dig at Adam Cole. Adam Cole is brilliant, but right now Britt Baker is on fire. And it's gonna be really weird if he comes into AEW and Britt Baker is a bigger success than him at that point. That's gonna be an interesting dynamic.
Now, Aaron, I see a lot of people asking me in the chat different questions, like Kevin Nash, Alberto Del Rio. Look, just tweet me, right? I mean, you don't have to even follow me, but at NoDQ_virtue. If I did not see your question or answer it, or you can email me at NoDQvirtue@gmail.com.
And where do they send all the hate mail?
NoDQMISC@gmail.com.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, can't wait for Lesnar to ragdoll the Usos. That would be a way to get at them. When Heyman is trying to delay the match, like Lesnar will go after the Usos to piss off Roman. So that's a good storyline idea to have Lesnar target the Usos.
I actually had it in my head, for Lesnar's return Brock to beat Cena at not Brock, Roman Reigns to beat Cena at SummerSlam. Then that next night on SmackDown, have Roman Reigns have the tribal celebration, have fire dancers out there, have all sorts of people, really cool people. Then all of a sudden Lesnar just comes out there, destroys everyone in the ring, and just Paul Heyman pretty much pissing himself, running up the ramp with Roman Reigns. I thought that would have been just beautiful.
I would like that. That's a great idea. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, Jay Hunter sent in a $5 super chat. I guess him and Tito have cooled things off a little bit. He says, unpopular opinion, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels in Hell in a Cell was better than WrestleMania 25. I would not necessarily say that's an unpopular opinion. If you said 26 was better than 25, then I would say maybe that's an unpopular opinion. But the first Hell in a Cell is great. And
that's landmark.
To me, it's neck and neck with 25. They're both great. They're different, but they're both great. And Matt Helm sent in $5. Thank you, Matt. Says, what's your favorite Becky Lynch match? Probably the Revolution match with Charlotte, I think, would be at the top of my list. Do you guys have one that sticks up?
Same.
At the
that
top?
Evolution match.
That's the one Meltzer rated as highest, I think, right, for a women's match.
Oh,
I think
is that what you're going for?
Well,
Meltzer rated it high?
Yeah. I mean, because he rated Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker the same, I think. So, we got the verification from Meltzer that it's the greatest. It's got to be the greatest Becky match for sure.
And Becky, I think that one's my favorite. I was going to say WrestleMania, but I was kind of disappointed with it, so I'll go with the Revolution match. Matt Phillips Reviews sent in $5. Says WWE is painting themselves into a corner with Reigns. They've fed everyone to him and don't have any new stars to dethrone him. They've been released. Well, they do have the draft coming up. That's the thing. You got Finn Balor. You got Brock Lesnar. You could possibly have Drew McIntyre if you bring him over.
Big E, another one.
You got several more people to last Roman until WrestleMania when The Rock, I presume, is going to be his opponent. So they still got people that they can do. I still want to see Nakamura versus Reigns. We never got it. And now that Nakamura's got Boogs and he's got his old music back, I still want to see that match at some point. So you do got people. Alberto sent in $2, says Roman's reaction to Brock's return was priceless. I agree with that. I thought he did a great job reacting to it. And on that note, I think we're caught up with the Super Chats, Virtue. We can...
Wow, almost 2 hours.
I know we've hit 2 hours before in the past, correct, Aaron, on one episode?
Yeah, for 4 topics, I'm shocked that we got to 2 hours, but there you go.
Well, somehow Roman became like a co-main event. But all right, son, I'll start with you. Do your plugs, man.
All right, so basically, as you guys can see on the screen, you can follow me on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, but mostly all my content is here right on YouTube. So as you can see, spelled SONGOSHUAKU. So there you can follow me. I have my new SummerSlam review up. So if you want my full thoughts on SummerSlam, you can go ahead and watch it there. And I do other WWE reviews for all the big shows. Also, you can follow my voice acting videos, my acting videos as I do filmmaking, writing, directing, and all that stuff. You can see there's a screenshot of my upcoming short film, Battle Deception, which is a live action anime influence short film I've been working on for 8 years. I got all the trailers and all the behind the scenes stuff up, as well as if you're a Dragon Ball fan, as you can tell by my shirt, I'm a big Dragon Ball fan, so I do other discussions and other dubs and fan dubs and parodies and stuff like that. So with that being said, thank you, gentlemen, so much for having me here. It's been a pleasure as always, and like I said, everybody, you know, we have our criticisms, we have our things that we love about professional wrestling, but at the end of the day, that's what it's about, bringing all of us fans together to enjoy this wonderful form of entertainment. So thank you guys, thank you NoDQ Galaxy, and by all means, keep supporting NoDQ.com.
Good to have you on. Yes.
Real quick, Psycho Jet Black said he sent in a $5 super chat, which I must have missed, and I've scrolled up and I cannot find it. So, Psycho, just post your comment again in the chat room, and we'll go ahead and read that off. Last one I saw from him was about Legend of Zelda. Yeah, it's gone now. So, yeah, just write it in there again. This Guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat, says, main event scene in WWE too predictable nowadays. Good night. I mean, it's been predictable for a while now, I think. And I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon or not. All right, so Virtue, back to you.
Jerry, go ahead and do your plugs, man.
Okay.
I really don't have much to plug except for my Twitter page as General_JSJ. Son, it was awesome to be on here with you, man. You have such a presence. Aaron, always great to be around you two. And Virtue, I think this is most have actually agreed with you on an actual NoDQ program since we actually started working together. So this was super. I think it's my favorite program that I've done in quite a while. So thank you, gentlemen, for having me on.
Well, it's like you were on 2 episodes, right? If you count this almost 2-hour marathon.
Seriously.
All right, Aaron.
Thanks, man.
Over to you.
All right. And by the way, Jerry, that background, I'm not sure if you still have it or not, with Jason and Michael Myers. Is that from that YouTube channel where they like sing the Backstreet Boys? And
I think it was. I just found it on Facebook one day. Like they were just pretty much chilling and waiting for Halloween to hit, and that's pretty much like was it. I thought that was great.
I love the because I've been jamming out to their Killers with Attitude, which is from Straight Outta Compton. Oh my gosh, I love that.
that is a brilliant channel. If you guys have not seen it, check it out. That is an awesome channel. I love it. I can't get enough of that channel. Okay, so we got the comment here from Psycho Jet Black. He said, rank the worst to best: Oddment, Johnson, Ryback, Luther Reigns, Heidenreich.
Ahmed Johnson.
Ahmed Johnson.
Ahmed Johnson.
Ahmed Johnson.
But I think Ahmed is Ahmed.
All right, who wants to do this? Because
Rank
they're
worst
all
to best.
they're all pretty bad. Luther Reigns is the bottom. I'll just throw that out right now.
That's a whole other program right there. We can't do that right now.
I'll say honestly, Ryback, I probably put the top because he had the biggest success out of all of them, and he was really over.
I'd say Mason Ryan would probably be on the bottom of the list.
Yeah, Ryback's the best out of that.
Yeah,
easily Ryback. Luther Reigns bottom, Mason Ryan at the bottom, Nathan Jones, and then Ezekiel Jackson. Maybe
Ezekiel Jackson would be somewhere in the middle because he was like
I liked Ezekiel.
The last ECW champion, wasn't he?
Yeah. And
he had an awesome theme song.
We all make fun of
what you
Ahmed
call
Johnson.
Domination.
I did like his song. And Ahmed Johnson, we all make fun of him and stuff, but the guy had a pretty good run. He was just injury prone and
oily's all crap. Yeah,
man. Ahmed Johnson was one of the first wrestlers around when I first started watching. Yeah, man.
Yeah, but he was a legit badass, and his run with the IC title was pretty good. It's a shame like things didn't work out for him in the long run, but maybe if he stayed healthy, he would have had a longer run in WWE. And I still think Ahmed should get more credit than he did. He was a pretty
good old Big T.
he had some star presence to him. Not a great wrestler, but he had that star presence when he came out there, and he had a pretty cool song. And he's a kick-ass guy. Like as a kid, I thought
he was ruined him by putting him into Nation of Domination for no apparent reason.
Oh, that was stupid. That term was ridiculous. Okay, Mike B sent in a $5 super chat. We are going to hit 2 hours, it looks like. Who should finally be the one to beat Roman? Well, we talked about Big E as a possibility. Not Karrion Kross at this point. I think he can be thrown out. It's hard to say, man.
I got 2 words for you, man. Baron Corbin.
I mean, I'd really like Tito mentioned, they just don't have anybody even close to being built up to that level right now where it would be a great payoff or torch handoff. It just wouldn't. So they need to do something.
I'll just say WWE, they have the talent. There's no reason why they can't build any of these people up.
They could silently build somebody up, like Goldberg. They did with Goldberg back in WCW. Him just started off these dark matches and everything, just slowly build that fan base and like the potential threat for Roman Reigns. But they're not doing that even at this point. So.
Yeah, it's a tough call right now, but Big E would be my top candidate. I hope somebody else comes along though that they can build up and eventually.
Or Walter.
Ain't gonna be Walter.
I was there in person and saw how they did Walter and in person, first man out in Survivor Series, and the crowd booed. I was there in person.
I mean, yeah, that's a sign right there, like that they would never get Walter right on the main roster. And he had such a killer match at that pay-per-view. I mean, that was intense as hell. That was something else. Like,
why isn't there all the UK like championship matches like that result in a title change happen in America? It's kind of weird.
I guess because they want people to see it.
I
don't know what else to say about that one.
NXT UK, what's that?
Shanti with a $2 super chat says, Karrion Kross I see as the future B squared.
Oh.
Yeah, could be right on that one. Like he could end up doing comedy. Like he might be a comedy guy in 6 months chasing the 24/7 title. Like I really do think that's in his future, unfortunately, unless they turn it around with Scarlett and go back to the old Kross. But I think they're going to be stubborn now. Alberto Gomez sent in a $2 super chat, says, where would you put Matt Morgan on Psycho's list?
Top 3.
Yeah. He wasn't bad. Like the stuttering gimmick really ruined him, in my opinion. Like that blew any chance he had of being able to succeed in WWE. Like nobody, again, the kind of thing that they would do with Karrion Kross. Like they did that with Matt Morgan. They gave him the stuttering gimmick, and he really
very few people can say they had their DNA floating in space to show what perfect specimens that the human race actually promoted. So Matt Morgan's up on the list for that.
Yeah, that stuttering gimmick is a perfect example of taking a guy that had some potential and just completely ruining him. And Psycho
TNA
Jet Black.
used him better.
I agree on that. Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat says, at least Kross has more credibility than Marco's stunt. Man,
Does he really though?
If Robbie Vice was here, Psycho Jet Black, you would have gotten the pop for that. Rest of the chat, I think we might disagree with you on that one. But anyways, Virtue, I think we're done, and we're right at about 2 minutes. Do you want to go 30 seconds more to get us to 2 hours? Go ahead.
If I had anybody, like if they got Roman all the way to The Rock, and he still hasn't lost, and he beat The Rock, and they still haven't built a star, Big E is a good chance. But I think the only person I would put over him for the Universal title, because of the history, you're going to see what I mean here in a minute, is Finn Balor. But it's the Demon.
Do you think
that would be like the only, and I know that wouldn't be long term, but for that moment, that'd be the only thing I could think of as what WWE currently has.
Do you think they'd actually just use the Money in the Bank cash in as a reason to take the belt off Roman?
They could, but I mean, again, you're going to have somebody. You can't have like a Nikki Ash. you know what I mean? Like,
well, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so that's all. We want 2 hours. There you go, Aaron.
All right,
ready?
2 hours.
Oh,
Psycho Jet Black is back with 2 hours, and he says, watch WWE have Roman lose the title to Randy Orton. Yeah, might happen.
If RKO implodes and he gets drafted to SmackDown, it's possible.
You know, I say Demon Finn Balor because that technically on the main roster, right? No. Demon Finn Balor never lost, right?
Yeah. You know what would be something they might just end up doing? Goldberg. He's the one to beat Brock, or not Brock, Roman Reigns.
I can't handle that, no.
But remember when Balor had his run as Universal Champion? He won it as the Demon against Seth, and he got hurt, and they never got back to that spot. That's why I said that. The fans would be marks for that.
How about this? Gage Goldberg.
I knew you were going to say that. I tried to avoid that. But I mean, come on, he's 15. He's 16. I mean, you're going to keep the belt on Roman for like Bruno Sammartino length?
Maybe.
All right, get these super chats out of the way so I can close the show.
All right, Matt Helms sent in $5. Says, "Who's next for Joe? Samoa
Pete Dunne."
Yeah,
no,
I want to see.
I thought Pete Dunne was done. Well,
shit or get off the can. Like they've been teasing it for a while now.
Oh, I thought Pete Dunne was leaving NXT.
He very well may be, but at the same time, it'll be a way for him to go out, hurt him versus Joe. Awesome.
Yeah. I would like to see Walter and Joe go at it. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
Oh yes.
That would be fun.
That'll be the next one.
There's a lot of good stuff they can do with Joe and NXT. And Psycho Jet Black sent in $2. Says, Gage Goldberg versus Karrion Kross, Hell in a Cell Inferno. I think Gage Goldberg goes over in that one.
Goldberg still goes over.
You know what we're not really talking about? And maybe we can talk about this on a future show. At some point, AEW, wrestlers are going to leave there. And would they ever go to – at some point, it's just going to have – dude, Shad Khan, he's going to tell his son, at some point you got to cut expenses, or wrestlers won't get their push that they wanted and they're going to want to leave and go back to the indies. And you never know when WWE could get somebody back or new from AEW down the road. You never know. At some point, that could very well happen.
For a little bit there, that's what I thought Vince was doing. It's like, yeah, let AEW buy up as many people as it wants. It's going to put himself, like, further in the hole, and then Vince can just build his product on who he's going to. Because CM Punk said best, Vince McMahon is going to make money despite himself. That's just what he is.
I'm still waiting for AEW to go ahead and build up Luchasaurus. That is a guy that absolutely can be a big player in the company.
I've been waiting too, son.
Not according to
talking about. You notice CM Punk is bringing up Jungle Boy. They're always talking about Jungle Boy. I'm like, what about Luchasaurus, man? Like, nobody's saying anything about this guy, how much potential he has. And I'm always thinking, like, I like Jungle Boy, but from the beginning.
Is Luchasaurus Luke Perry's son? No.
If you go back to the beginning of AEW, I always said Luchasaurus looks like a guy that could be a star. Like, I could see action figures and kids Like I'm thinking the WWE
with the mask and everything. Yeah,
I'm thinking the Nick Khan mentality. Like there's dollar signs. He's tall. He's got the mask. Action figures in the video game. Who are you going to want to play? If you're a kid and you're playing the AEW video game, who are you going to want to play? Are you going to play Jungle Boy or are you going to play Luchasaurus? You're going to play the big guy with the mask that's going to choke.
Him versus Malachi Black would just be an awesome match.
Yeah,
like he's super athletic in the ring for his size, and he's actually a very intelligent speaker.
They are sleeping on Luchasaurus. They've been sleeping on him for 2 years. Although I feel like somebody there knows that there's something with him, because if you notice, every time Jurassic Express loses, it's usually Jungle Boy that's taken the fall. And they try to protect Luchasaurus in the booking. So somebody there knows it's smart to not job him out and keep him protected. So maybe one day we'll get that Luchasaurus push. We have 2 more super chats, by the way, so this may be the longest one we've ever done. I may have to cut the boys in on some of this super chat money since they've gone for so long here. Matt Helm sent in a $5 super chat, says, do you like Becky Lynch's theme song? Yes, I think it's a great song. I think it's CFO's, and I think it fits her. So, yeah, I like her song. But if she's a heel now, do you change it? That's the question. The problem is that I don't know if the new guys can give her something that would work for her as a heel that would be satisfying.
If she's half the draw that they peg her out to be, she'll make a way of making it work regardless. Good
point there, Jerry. What do you guys think? Should they change her song if she's going to be a heel?
It's, the Roman one they changed, right? And so that works. That works for him. So why not?
A slight slow down. It's just a slight slow down, deeper pitch. That's about it.
Psycho Jet Black.
It's got to have that regal feel to it.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, imagine Becky Lynch losing to Nikki Bella. I think Caitlyn would like that.
Can't imagine that. Oh, wait, I could imagine that. But
yeah, never say never if Nikki makes her comeback eventually. Although, if Daniel Bryan's in AEW, I wonder if the Bella twins are done as far as any chance of getting TV exposure. Like,
you can't measure that because Charlotte Flair just won the world title with her husband over on AEW.
Yeah, but Charlotte is Charlotte. She's been WWE has invested so much in her. The Bellas haven't been on TV in years.
They're still ambassadors.
Wait, is that legit news, Aaron, what Anthony just said, or is that you don't know yet? Anthony?
I have not been.
Oh, my God. I'm gonna
usually when something happens, my texts start blowing up. People start sending me messages about it.
So we don't know yet about this Max Caster stuff.
I mean, he might just be going off of how Max Caster set up a Cameo page and AEW handle. But yeah, I haven't seen anything official. But somebody let me know if AEW actually tweeted something. Let me know. Psycho Jet Black said, "Son and Jerry Slaughter bring in the ratings." Yes, I loved having both of them on. Thank you guys so much for being on tonight for this potentially historic moment in NoDQ review history. I'm not sure if this is the longest one we've done, but it's got to be close. Well, it might just be.
I think it is.
Alberto Gomez.
I'm about to say, great content.
Alberto Gomez with a $5 super chat says, "We're all predicting who beats Roman. Watch it be The Rock. I mean, he defeated CM Punk and ended his 434-day title reign." I don't think so. I really don't think The Rock's gonna beat Roman Reigns, because The Rock's probably going back to Hollywood after WrestleMania. I think he's going to come in, he's going to have a small window, and that's not going to accomplish anything.
The only way that would work
is his retirement match.
The only way that would work is if The Rock's the heel and he wins the title and goes back to Hollywood with it. But that's not going to be the case at this point, because you can't make Roman Reigns the face in that feud. That's just impossible.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen unless The Rock was going to commit to more than one match. But even that, I don't think so.
I think when The Rock held Roman Reigns' hand up in Philadelphia after the Royal Rumble and they got booed, you don't know how bad he wants to get Roman. Oh, like, I know Roman's a heel.
Look on The Rock's face, like, why are these people booing?
If Rock knows he could have a match with Roman at WrestleMania, break records, put Roman over there, even if Roman's a heel, that place is just going to be like in awe of what happens. The Rock will then say, "We got you." So what we wanted to do then, it didn't work out. We got you tonight. So I think he puts Roman over. Okay, we're ready? Are we caught up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up, Virtue.
All right. Follow me on Twitter. You know how that goes, at NoDQ_Virtue. And Aaron, we have a whole bunch of merch over there on NoDQ.com/merch, correct? And
Correct.
I think some of the retro T-shirts are over on Pro Wrestling Tees. So, if all the CM Punk stuff sold out, go buy some NoDQ stuff over there as well. But for Son, for Jerry, and for Aaron Rift, NoDQ.
Shanti sent in $2, says, what is your guys' favorite indie pro and indie stars? Okay, I'll go first.
Okay, I got one.
PWG, and as far as indie stars, I don't really follow it enough these days to be able to give you a good answer on that one. So PWG, last time I checked, still put out some great stuff, and they continue to do so. And I think Malachi Black was at the last PWG show. Who's the guy that teamed up with him or whatever?
Don't know.
Somebody help me on this.
Brain block.
I'll just say that guy. Okay, Virtue, go ahead.
Maybe AEW in Cleveland or Northeast Wrestling. I think they're out of Connecticut, and they do a lot of the wrestling under the stars in the minor league baseball stadiums in the summertime. My favorite indie wrestler, he never got his chance. He was on the season of Tough Enough in 2010, and they cut him out pretty early because he was the best one of the bunch, so they probably had to rig that. It was Matt Cross. If you don't know who Matt Cross is, he wrestles all over the world. I cannot believe he is not signed to AEW. Maybe he doesn't want to be tied to a promotion. I mean, this guy goes to Germany. He goes all over the world, and they pay for it. Yep. They pay for him to do that. So Matt Cross, MDog20, absolutely.
Now that I've had a moment to think about it, I wanted to plug Defy Wrestling in the Pacific Northwest. I went to a couple of their shows when I was living out there. They put out some great stuff, and I think that they're a bit underrated. So I think they're starting to run shows again. I think they got the mask mandate, but yeah, they're starting up again if they haven't already. And Ethan HD is a guy who wrestled there who I really liked, and I'd like to see AEW give him a shot. So yeah, check them out. Defy Wrestling. They're based out of Seattle.
Oh, and I'd like to see Enzo get another shot in the business. He's probably one of the best guys on the mic, not named CM Punk. I mean, come on, he can be a manager if you don't want him to work.
There you go.
But anyway, All right, so are we done? We caught up?
Anybody want to add to that?
OVW, because I'm right outside Louisville, is my indie company of choice anyhow. But I'd have to say Shogun. Like, I've seen him in a couple matches, and he's really great. And Danhausen. Danhausen is just a freak show, and he's just awesome to watch. So I like to see him end up showing up in Impact or AEW somewhere down the line, because he's a weirdo.
All right, thank you for that.
Okay,
I don't really follow the indies as much, but basically, I'll just say I did go to a show out here in Chicago. Didn't know who the lady was, but thought she was really cool. Went back and looked at the photo. I'm like, that was Thunder Rosa. So it was cool to see her before she had made a big name. Now she's on AEW. So definitely, as MVP once told me, get out there and support the independent wrestlers, because you never know who's going to be there on the big stage.
Holy shit, you guys are still alive.
And we got one more here from Psycho Jet Black. Says, who's more powerful, Superman or Goku?
Probably Superman. I've heard he's got some overpowered stuff.
Yeah, I go with
Goku's
Superman,
got his limitations.
Is it the gimmick with Superman is that nothing can stop him?
They've actually had that battle made up in those fan-made videos, and Superman always goes over. So,
all right, Curtis Butler.
Danhausen is an ROH. Yeah, I know that much, but ROH still considered independent compared to any other companies at this point.
All right, Aaron, can we close the show?
Yeah, James asked for you to unblock him, Virtue. Well, he wants to be unblocked.
Anybody that wants to be unblocked, they need to send a sincere apology to me. You know, it could be fake, but just pretend it's sincere.
Oh, he apologized.
No, it's got to be. I need the actual proof in my email document. So nodqvirtue@gmail.com. And just like Roman Reigns is the WWE, Aaron Rift and his crew is NoDQ.com. NoDQ Galaxy, thanks for this marathon. We appreciate it, and we will be back. Not next week, but the week after, because Big G's wedding, so no review next week.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Aaron can throw something else together. I am taking the week off.
That's why we went 2 hours. Everyone was like,
boom, there you go. It makes sense. It all happens.
It all together, yeah.
Sometimes the best stuff happens when you can't explain it because it's meant to be. See everybody later. Good night.
Make sure you guys follow Big G at nodq.com/BigBallerG because he's got his wedding and I'm sure he'll be posting photos and whatnot. So follow him. Congratulations to Big G in advance. And yeah, all right. Virtue, you want to go ahead and say goodbye one more time with the logo up?
Good night. See ya.